Chapter 3509. Goodbye, Luo Riyao. It could only be said that some people could only share trials and tribulations, but not riches and honor. Luo Riyao was the kind of person who couldn't share riches and honor. However, without Lin Ling, Luo Riyao would still be a very ordinary person. Lin Ling still had some feelings for Luo Riyao. However, after knowing that Luo Riyao had never come to Qingzhou for his own future, his impression of Luo Riyao instantly soured. When Luo Riyao entered Grand Simplicity Nebula sect, he saw Lin Ling at first glance. He was stunned. In the past, Lin Ling was just a junior in his eyes, a rising star. Luo Riyao had also taken care of him in Qingzhou. However, now, the man sitting at the head of the table had a calm and steady aura. He was no longer the junior he used to be. He was more like a hero of the 9 prefectures. Luo Riyao didn't even dare to look at the man in the eye. Luo Riyao, you and I know each other. If you're here on behalf of Fu Hang, you can go back. At this moment, Lin Ling's voice drifted over. Lin Ling, what do you mean? This sentence was like a bolt from the blue, causing Luo Riyao to frown. Am I not clear enough? I'm asking you to go back. Lin Ling squinted his eyes and looked at Luo Riyao indifferently. Lin Ling, you and I are considered friends. Fu Hang sent me here to negotiate because of this. They thought that it would be easy to talk among friends. But now you're chasing me away? You should know that not everyone in Fu Hang is as easy to talk to as me. Luo Riyao said word by word. It was obvious that he was unhappy and thought that Lin Ling was too heartless. Haha, Fu Hang is not easy to talk to? I don't think they are difficult to talk to. Moreover, if they are difficult to talk to, I will make them easy to talk to. Luo Riyao, go back and tell Fu Xing Manor that my previous request will be increased by 20%. If Fu Xing Manor still doesn't do a good job, then increase it by 30% until it reaches 80%. Go back. Lin Ling shook his head and said, Lin Ling, why? Are you deliberately targeting me? Luo Riyao was here on behalf of Fu Xing Manor, but now that he was chased away, how would Fu Xing Manor view him? Moreover, Lin Ling's request had also changed. This was definitely intentional. On purpose? Not really, I can only say that I don't like you. Hearing this, Lin Ling said lazily. In the distance, Qi Yuhu and the others smiled. They smiled happily. When he heard that Lin Ling was targeting him, Sunset's entire body turned gloomy. His body trembled as he stood there. Many people in the Grand Simplicity Nebula sect were looking at him, whether they knew him or not. This made Luo Riyao feel very embarrassed. He gritted his teeth and muttered to himself, Lin Ling, you and I have known each other for many years. Why do you have to do this? The grudge between you and Fu Xing Manor is between you and him. Why do you have to put the blame on me? Don't you think you are too petty? Anyone could tell that he was a little angry. This made Qi Yuhu, who used to know Luo Riyao, feel very uncomfortable. Luo Riyao was blaming them? Moreover, what right did he have to ask Lin Ling to treat him well? What right did he have? He, Luo Riyao, was a senior executive of Fu Xing Manor. Because he knew Lin Ling, he was given the opportunity to negotiate. However, Lin Ling did not give him face and asked Fu Xing Manor to replace him. This made Luo Riyao unhappy. He thought that Lin Ling did not give him face. This Luo Riyao was thinking too highly of himself. Lin Ling shook his head and smiled. He did not want to explain anything. All these years, have you ever come back to see them? Answer me. Yes. No. Yes. Luo Riyao immediately looked up and explained, based on your relationship with Fu Xing Manor, if I come back, it will not be good for anyone. It will also bring inconvenience. Yes. Get out now. However, before Luo Riyao could finish his words, Lin Ling had already ordered him to leave. I'll give you half an hour to get out of my sight. His voice was full of dominance. He wanted Luo Riyao to get out. Moreover, Lin Ling's meaning was clear. You don't have to explain anything. Just get out. Luo Riyao immediately looked up. His eyes were full of disbelief. However, after seeing Lin Ling's cold expression, even if he was dissatisfied, he could only leave with his tail between his legs. Of course, with this departure, he also lost all face. What a selfish person. Lin Ling asked him if he had come back once in all these years. He said no. This means that he was afraid that we would implicate him, so he never came back. What kind of person is he? If it wasn't for Lin Ling, he would be nothing in Fu Xing Manor. He relied on Lin Ling to make his fortune. How dare he be so arrogant? People drink water and don't forget the person who dug the well. What about him? Sigh, just think of it as knowing a dog. Everyone who knew Luo Riyao whispered to each other. They had completely seen through Luo Riyao. Luo Riyao was forced to leave. He was naturally unhappy. After a long time, he returned to the headquarters of Fu Xing Manor and told them Lin Ling's conditions. The expressions of Fu Hang Manor and the other cultivators changed drastically. Lin Ling's conditions were increased by 20%. Immediately change someone to negotiate with him. Lord Yifu's mood instantly soured. Obviously, Luo Riyao didn't make Lin Ling happy. Otherwise, Lin Ling wouldn't ask for a change. Damn it. Chase Luo Riyao to the West Kingdom to look after Fu Xing Manor. Immediately ask someone to negotiate with Lin Ling again. Although Fu Xing Manor was unhappy, Lin Ling was the boss, the master. Unless they chose to fight at all costs, they endured it again. Luo Riyao waited outside quietly. Not long later, he finally saw Lord Ba Fu walking over. Due to his dissatisfaction with Lin Ling, he wanted to add insult to injury. However, Lord Ba Fu said to him indifferently, "Luo Riyao, go to the West Kingdom in the future. This headquarters is no longer suitable for you." The words were like a bolt from the blue. Luo Riyao's mind roared. What? West Kingdom? Isn't this asking me to go back to the 10,000 worlds? Luo Riyao couldn't believe it. He was afraid that he had heard wrongly. When he was working in Qing State's Fu Xing Manor, he thought that he was the worst. Who knew that he was going to go back to the West Kingdom, which was worse than Jiuzhou? How can this be? How can this be? Luo Riyao kept shaking his head. He could accept the demotion, but how could he accept the fact that he was worse than he was at the beginning? Remember, you were promoted because of Lin Ling. So whether Lin Ling and Fu Xing Manor are enemies or not, he can affect your future. If one day, you can't be responsible for the communication between Lin Ling and Fu Xing Manor, then you are useless. Lord Ba Fu looked at Luo Riyao coldly and turned to leave. Chapter 35:10. Eighth Heaven Saint Realm. Once upon a time, he had achieved meteoric success, but he had never once visited Lin Ling. He thought that Lin Ling was from a different world from him and could not be compared to him. But now, he understood that no matter how he had changed, his future would be decided by Lin Ling. At this moment, Fu Hang Manor had sent out a new expert to negotiate with Lin Ling. In response, Lin Ling had raised the price to 120 billion royal crystals. At first, Fu Hang Manor did not agree, but after considering that this might be the last chance for them to make peace with Lin Ling, they finally agreed. Most importantly, they knew that the ninth god Eye had also come to Yen province. The ninth god Eye was the strongest under the demigod realm. If he joined forces with Lin Ling, Fu Hang Manor would have a hard time stopping them. Fu Hang Zhuang also deeply understood that Lin Ling had grown up. He was already a big shot in the 9 prefectures. Therefore, after they handed over the royal crystals, they reached an agreement with Lin Ling that they would never participate in the matters between Lin Ling and the new heavenly court. In this way, Lin Ling only had 2 enemies left: the new heavenly court and the Flying Dragon organization. Lin Ling had no intention of negotiating with the Flying Dragon organization. The main reason was that they were not as rich as Fu Hang Manor. Therefore, even if the Flying Dragon organization surrendered, Lin Ling would not get any benefits. As for the new heavenly court, needless to say, Lin Ling and them would not rest until one of them was dead. After the matters between Fu Hang Manor and the Divine Escort Mansion were settled, Lin Ling had no intention of staying in Yen province. He planned to return to the final world. On this day, Lin Ling waited for his master's wedding to be settled before he chatted with all his family and friends. After catching up, Lin Ling bid farewell and left. Just as he left and arrived at the universal void, the old woman appeared. She had obviously been waiting for Lin Ling for a long time. Lin Ling also handed over the will of the world to the old woman, which made the old woman somewhat excited. By the way, Senior, my wife's talents have greatly improved. I wonder if you can recommend them to the final world? Lin Ling looked expectantly at the old woman and said, The old woman smiled and nodded. You stayed by their side during this time and helped them improve their strength. I also saw that they have reached the strength to enter the final world. Therefore, I will recommend them to a school. Thank you, Senior. Lin Ling was overjoyed. You finished most of your tasks in the 9 continents. In the following days, you should strive to reach the martial progenitor realm as soon as possible. Only by reaching this level will you be able to see a new sky. Come, let's go back. The old woman nodded and led Lin Ling and Yen State towards the final world. Lin Ling had completed the 2nd trial. Logically speaking, he should also receive the same reward. However, the old woman had handed the will of the world to Lei Gong. Therefore, Lin Ling had to wait for the time being. At the same time, the news of Fu Hang Manor and Godly Escort Mansion shaking hands with Lin Ling reached the new heavenly court. Wen Tian Martial God also received the news, but he did not say anything. However, the others were very unhappy. While they were cursing Fu Hang Manor, they also had the idea of attacking Lin Ling. However, Wen Tian Martial God knew about this and suppressed it in the end. There was no doubt that the experts of the new heavenly court were puzzled. Because Lin Ling was ceaselessly growing stronger, and his objective was to destroy the new heavenly court. So, why hadn't they killed him yet? After all, based on Lin Ling's monstrous progress, it would be impossible for them to kill him if they were given a little more time. Unfortunately, Wen Tian Martial God did not explain much about this. He only forbade people from touching Lin Ling. In fact, Lin Ling was not afraid of Wen Tian Martial God attacking him. This was because Lin Ling could clearly see how terrifying Lei Gong was. However, everything was as Lin Ling had guessed. Wen Tian Martial God did not attack Lin Ling. Peaceful days passed quietly. Lin Ling once again lived in seclusion in the courtyard, isolated from the rest of the world. He rarely returned to Snow Wind Academy. On the contrary, there were still many legends about Lin Ling in the academy. During this period of time, Lin Ling had also used all the cultivation resources to improve his realm. This was because his current space-time divine steel had reached its limit. Dragon Bone, Dragon Soul, and the realm-swallowing beast. These talents were very difficult to increase. Therefore, when there was no progress, Lin Ling could only work on his realm. Most importantly, he now had a lot of royal crystals. He did not lack cultivation resources in the short term. Therefore, after spending some time, Lin Ling successfully reached the 8th stage of the Saint Realm. This was the late stage of the Saint Realm. Lin Ling was not happy or sad about this result. He continued to use the royal crystals to increase his cultivation and stabilize his realm. When his realm stabilized, Lin Ling slowly exited from his cultivation state. After checking his cultivation, Lin Ling was very satisfied. This was because he was now in the 8th stage of the Sage Realm. He was only 2 stages away from the peak of the Sage Realm. Lin Ling came to the final world to learn martial arts. The time he spent was not even enough for 100 years. His progress was terrifying. At this rate, I will be able to step into the martial ancestor realm in less than 10 years. When I return to the martial ancestor realm, it means that I have returned to Li Xiaoyao's heyday. However, compared to Li Xiaoyao's time, I am much stronger now. Back then, Li Xiaoyao cultivated all kinds of martial arts and comprehended the power of the ranks and the power of the ancestors. In this generation, I am only focusing on the chaos divine skill to increase my physical strength and talent. Therefore, although I don't have many tricks up my sleeve, my foundation is much more solid. Lin Ling thought to himself. Now, his methods were more like using brute force to subdue 3 intellect. Young master, congratulations on coming out of seclusion. When Lin Ling walked out, Do Kening and the others immediately congratulated him. Hee, how long have I been in seclusion? Lin Ling looked at Do Kening and said as he picked Xiao Yu up. Young master, you have been in seclusion for a year. Do Kening said respectfully. A year was not a long time. Oh yes, young master, when you were in seclusion, the Deputy Dean of Snow Academy looked for you and asked you to go to the hidden Fog Island. Do Kening suddenly thought of something and reminded him. When did that happen? Lin Ling looked at Do Kening. It happened a month ago. Do Kening said immediately. When Lin Ling heard that, he did not care. It had happened a month ago. By now, the so-called hidden Fog Island had already started. Therefore, he did not need to care about it. Young master, you are out of seclusion. At this moment, The old woman also appeared. She slowly walked into the small courtyard and looked at Lin Ling with a respectful expression. Lin Ling greeted her politely. The old lady nodded with a smile and said, Lin Ling, if you are going to the hidden fog island, you can still make it there. Chapter 35:11. A Dragon Ball. The old lady explained, Young master, if you were to rush to the hidden fog island from here, you would definitely be in a rush. So, it doesn't matter if you go or not. However, there are 8 academies going to the hidden fog island this time. One of them is Yu Yu's academy. So, Yu Yu and the rest might be participating. That's why I reminded you to participate. Yes. I see. Yes. Lin Ling was stunned. Then he smiled and said, Yu Yu and the rest have come to the final world. Which academies are they in? Yes. They are in Lu Ming Academy and Fei He Academy. These 2 academies are also main city academies. Their history is not much weaker than Snow Academy. The old lady said immediately. Lin Ling was even happier for Yu Yu and the rest. Although he knew that Yu Yu and the rest would definitely become academy students, he did not expect it to happen so quickly. In that case, Lin Ling would have to rush to the hidden fog island. All right, senior, I have decided what my reward is. After making his decision, Lin Ling suddenly looked at the old lady and said. Previously, when the old lady went to hand in the will of the world, she had reminded Lin Ling to think about what his reward was and to tell her when he returned. This was also the reason why Lin Ling had been working hard during this period of time. He wanted to find out what he was lacking the most. I have a plan. Hearing that, the old lady suddenly looked forward to it. I want a Dragon Ball. Lin Ling looked at the old lady and said word by word. His words stunned the old lady at first. Then, she smiled bitterly. Dragon Ball, this was the essence of the Dragon Ball. Only the king of the Dragon God would be born. This meant that even the purest Dragon God bloodline might not have a Dragon Ball. Such a treasure would be a precious treasure in the eyes of any force, even in the eyes of the 9 states martial gods. Senior, is it difficult? Looking at the old lady's bitter smile, Lin Ling felt that he had asked for too much. The reason why he chose the Dragon Balls was because he found that he had greatly improved in many aspects, except for the Dragon God talent. That was why he made this request. It's not that difficult. It's just that I'm more surprised by your conditions. Don't worry. I reckon that Thunder Lord will agree to your conditions. You completed the second trial very well and sealed the will of the world. Moreover, as far as I know, there were a total of 5 people who tried to snatch the will of the world. The fact that you were able to succeed in the hands of so many people shows your ability. The old woman smiled and nodded, which made Lin Ling immediately excited. This meant that Lei Gong agreed. And as long as he obtained a Dragon Ball, Lin Ling might be able to improve the Dragon God's talent, greatly increasing his strength. Of course, Lin Ling was just casually mentioning it. He did not expect Lei Gong to really have one. It seemed that Lin Ling had underestimated Lei Gong's wealth. I'll report this to Lei Gong. Now, you should go to the hidden fog island first. I reckon that I'll be able to bring back the Dragon Balls by the time you return. The old lady said to Lin Ling with a smile. All right. Lin Ling was undoubtedly even more excited. However, he asked curiously. The Wind Snow Academy rushed to the hidden fog island a month ago. Will I be too late if I go now? It's okay. These academies were only sparring in martial arts at the beginning. That's why they only started to enter the hidden fog island now. If you rush there from here, it'll take you about 3 days. The old lady analyzed. With the old lady's affirmation, Lin Ling was finally relieved. Since Yu Yu and Lin Ling were there, he would definitely rush over. Xiaoyu, come with me to see Sister Yu Yu and the rest. Yay! I haven't seen Yu Yu and the rest for a long time. Thinking of Yu Yu and the rest, Xiaoyu was undoubtedly very happy. After kissing Lin Ling on the cheek, she immediately urged Lin Ling to hurry over. Lin Ling laughed and left a few words to Do Afterimage and the rest before leaving Snow Wind City. Although it was Lin Ling's first time going to the hidden fog island, it was extremely famous in the final world. Therefore, it was not difficult to find the direction to it. As for the hidden fog island, it was a gathering place for the strong to retire. Some people who had become disillusioned with the mortal world or wanted to enter a new world once again would come to the hidden fog island to live a peaceful life. Moreover, The hidden fog island itself had magical powers that made the people who lived there very comfortable. As time passed, more and more people came to live on the hidden fog island. According to the old lady's directions, Lin Ling brought Xiaoyu along and traveled alone. They traveled for a total of 3 days. Soon, a large cloud of fog appeared in front of them. It covered the sky and the sun, and it was extremely beautiful. Lin Ling knew that they had arrived at the hidden fog island. Looking at the surroundings of the hidden fog island, he saw a large number of people gathered there. It was obvious that they were all students from the 6 academies. This also meant that Lin Ling had finally made it. If I were a little late, Yu and the rest would have entered the hidden fog island. If I wanted to find them again, I would have to wait outside. Looking at the large group of people in front of him, Lin Ling could not help but feel happy. The 6 academies in front of him were Snow Wind, Lumen, Flying Crane, Ray Glow, Guwen, and Saijia. These were the major academies in the main cities, and their backgrounds and seniority were not weak. At that moment, the 6 academies seemed to be planning to let their students enter the hidden fog island for training. However, before the training, the elders of the academies were talking and introducing the students who were participating in the training, as well as their strengths. Wow, so beautiful! Is that Beauty with the Dragon's Bloodline the new junior from Lumen Academy? Beautiful. Too beautiful. No, I want to transfer schools. I want to go to Lu Ming Academy. Go ahead. I only need the junior with the eyes that seem to be singing. Keske, that one is also extremely beautiful. Around them, whispers could be heard from time to time. Moreover, although they were whispering, their voices were not soft at all. Of course, many people were also looking at the 2 beauties. The 2 beauties looked to be in their early 20s, but not only were they beautiful, even their talents had reached an extremely terrifying level. They did not look like freshmen at all, but more like seniors. Together with the freshmen, they became the focus of the various academies in an instant. Even Zhuang Yanming and the other freshmen from Snow Wind Academy stared at the 2 beauties with their hearts thumping non-stop. Beauties like Chu Yun and Fairy Xian Yan might think highly of themselves, but when compared to the ultimate grade 4 desolate body of others, they were immediately overshadowed like fireflies. Most importantly, they were just freshmen. Another Dragon Clan talent, and it looks even purer than Zhuang Yanming's. Keske. No wonder everyone is so crazy about it. Chu Yun exclaimed. The talent of the dragon tribe. This is the little dragon girl. Honestly speaking, if not for the fact that I have some self-awareness and know that such a little dragon girl does not belong to me, I'm afraid that I would have taken action. Zhuang Yanming sighed and said. Chapter 35:12. Everyone was jealous. Thus, their eyes were filled with surprise. It wasn't because of everyone's admiration for them, but because they were surprised that with their talents, they could actually cause such a great reaction in the final world. If Big Brother Lin Ling hadn't given us all the treasures to cultivate, I'm afraid that we'd just be ordinary existences right now. Brother Lin Ling. It's always like this. So many people are looking at us. Doesn't he think about this kind of situation for us? The 2 women said helplessly. They were Yu and Xian Yuan Go-er. Junior sister Yu, the trial on the hidden fog island is about to begin. Although the trial is not a small matter to you, there are always accidents. Why don't I go with you and protect you during the journey? His name was Duan Tianzhan. Not only was he a member of the Duan clan, but he was also one of the elites of the academy. Seeing that he was looking for an opportunity to get close to the beauty, the others couldn't stand it anymore and invited him with smiles. However, Yu and the others actually ignored them. They casually swept their gazes over them and were suddenly stunned. Because in the distance, a slender figure was walking over in an unbridled manner. Such a figure would undoubtedly become the focus of attention in this kind of situation, and the outcome would definitely not be good. However, when Yu and the others saw it, they were extremely excited. Who is that guy? He looks so bold. Are you late? Fuck. He's so confident even though he's late. I'm afraid he's the only one from the 6 great academies. Idiot. Many people also saw the person who came. Most of them were disdainful. If they knew that grandstanding fellow, he would definitely be scolded by his elders. Unfortunately, the newcomer still did as he pleased and appeared before everyone's eyes. Most importantly, he didn't pay any attention to the crowd, nor did he greet them. Instead, he directly walked towards the 2 beauties. Now, It was even more impossible for people not to notice him. This guy is too bold. He with such a style. He should be from the 9 continents. Those fellows from the 9 continents are so overbearing. If they take a fancy to someone, they will directly snatch it. Unfortunately, that idiot forgot that this is the final world. I bet he'll be slapped away by the beauty before he even gets close to her. Even more people started to laugh in schadenfreude. The person who came was none other than Lin Ling. At this moment, he didn't care about the gazes around him and directly went to Yu and the others. Yu and the others also looked at Lin Ling excitedly. Ever since they came to the final world, they had been looking for Lin Ling. Unfortunately, the final world was too big and they couldn't find him in a short time. However, they were sure that Lin Ling would definitely come to find them. And now Lin Ling had indeed come. Without waiting for Yu to speak, Lin Ling grabbed Yu's hand. Wow! The crowd immediately went into an uproar. That guy was really straightforward. However, this straightforwardness wasn't over yet. Lin Ling's other hand grabbed Xian Yuangu's hand again. This time, Lin Ling had a beauty each. Furthermore, they were beauties with ultimate grade 4 desolate bodies. It was impossible to say that they weren't jealous. Everyone's eyes were burning with anger. What made them the most indignant was that the 2 beauties Yu and Yu, not only did they not resist, they even looked very happy. And this was undoubtedly the crux of the matter. As long as Yu and Yu resisted, they would definitely rush forward and tear that shameless man to pieces. Lin Ling, you have finally come to find us. Yu ignored the gazes of the crowd and continued looking at Lin Ling excitedly. Xian Yuangu was the same. This also made their school unable to watch any further. A teacher asked. Teacher, he is my husband, Lin Ling. Yu replied while blinking her eyes. Without a doubt, everyone's hearts immediately felt like they were being torn apart. He is also my husband, Lin Ling. However, what made people feel like their hearts were being torn apart was not just 1 stab, but 2. This was because Xian Yuangu had also admitted it. This also made the surroundings suddenly turn eerily silent. It was fine that the man had obtained 1 beauty, but he had obtained 2. Furthermore, this man's eyes were too sharp. The wives he had found were not only beautiful, but they also had ultimate grade 4 desolate bodies. Such a rare occurrence had actually happened to the man. Comparing oneself to others was infuriating. Many people's eyes turned red. They wanted to say something, but they did not know what to say. They could only watch as Lin Ling accompanied Yu and Yu. They wished they could transform into Lin Ling and replace Lin Ling. Of course, this was just wishful thinking. It was still possible when one thought about it. Wait, isn't today the time for our 6 schools to exchange pointers? Shouldn't all unrelated people be chased away? That man is not from our school. If it were up to me, we should chase him away. A few men could not find a way to interrupt Lin Ling, so they wanted to forcefully interrupt him. That's right, that's right. Deputy Dean, this person's public appearance in our 6 schools is a great humiliation to us. If it were up to me, we should chase that guy away. Chase him away, we must chase him away. More people roared. Their faces were filled with sneers. It was as if they could already see the scene of Lin Ling being chased away and watching his beautiful wife leave him. Upon thinking of this, many people could not help but laugh out loud. I'm sorry. That youth is actually a student from our school. However, he was late, so he came late. However, everyone's excitement and anticipation were quickly interrupted by others. It was a few teachers from Snow Wind Academy. This was because they recognized that the guy who ignored everyone and directly reminisced with his wife was very similar to their school's Lin Ling. No, it should be said that they were exactly the same. That way of doing things in his own way was simply 100% the same. What? Everyone had just found an excuse to attack Lin Ling, but they had all failed. This made them so angry that their noses were crooked. Junior sister Yu, is this person your husband? I don't think much of him. After all, you have a 4th grade ultimate desolate body. His strength is definitely not much stronger than yours. And for a man to rely on his wife, such a man can't do much. It's possible for him to be called that. It's also possible for him to be called a gigolo. That's right, a gigolo. Many people suddenly chuckled. Their words were also extremely unpleasant to the ears. What does it have to do with you? He is our husband. No matter what he is, we like him. Furthermore, it will never have anything to do with you. Yu Yu's expression immediately turned ugly. However, Shen Yuangu was a little witch. She smiled and suddenly hugged Lin Ling even more tightly. Furthermore, her entire body moved closer to him. Upon seeing this, Yu Yu immediately followed suit. Chapter 35:13. Hidden Fog Island. Lin Ling naturally sensed everyone's jealousy. He smiled bitterly because he didn't expect Yu Yu and the others to be so popular. However, other people's jealousy was one thing, but Lin Ling wouldn't refuse to acknowledge his wife just because of fear. So, he also held Yu Yu and the others' hands and walked towards the Snow Wind Academy. However, how could the people from the other 5 great academies allow Lin Ling to come and go as he pleased? If Lin Ling took away Yu Yu and the others in front of them, then what face would the 5 great academies have left? Wait! At this moment, someone finally stepped out and blocked Lin Ling's path. Sir, what kind of man are you to hide behind a woman? Furthermore, another person walked out. These two were both experts of the Shen Air Hall and had illustrious reputations. After they walked out, many people laughed excitedly because they could sense that Lin Ling was going to have a good show to watch. Scram. However, Lin Ling also spoke indifferently, but he didn't even look at them. Scram. Everyone laughed. Their laughter was extremely loud. Only they knew how powerful the experts of the Shen Air Hole were. Lin Ling actually told them to scram? In this way, no matter how good their mentality was, it was impossible for them to let Lin Ling go. After all, if Lin Ling was a little more polite and spoke with a better attitude, the other party wouldn't be so angry. However, Lin Ling directly told the other party to get lost. Scram. The two exchanged glances with one another before they shook their heads and burst out laughing. They were both martial progenitors, but Lin Ling was asking them to piss off? Just as they were about to speak, a light flashed in front of them. Lin Ling had already made his move. The two of them were stunned at first, and then they became furious. That was because this unknown fellow had actually attacked them, and he had even attacked them. How dare he do that? The two of them exchanged glances and were already prepared to see how Lin Ling would die. The crowd gasped. Not only did he ask them to scram, but he actually took the initiative to attack them. Even if Yu Yu and the others pleaded for mercy, it would be useless. Boom. Lin Ling's attack was very simple. It was just a light bump with his shoulder, and no one cared about this bump at all. Because when one reached their level, without powerful ancestral power and extraordinary talent, everything else was nothing but paper. How dare you bump into us? Be careful. Your shoulder will break. The two of them snorted disdainfully and didn't use any means to defend themselves. Boom. However, when Lin Ling's arm bumped into one's shoulder, a loud boom. It was as if that person had been hit by a meteor and was shot into the distance at a speed that could not be seen with the naked eye. The others is? Just as he was about to shout, Lin Ling's arm slammed into him. Boom. The sound of space being shattered echoed as the other person's robe was instantly torn apart. His expression was extremely serious, as if he had encountered a mortal enemy. He even summoned his family's heirloom armor. Ka. However, the armor cracked under Lin Ling's attack. My family heirloom lion god armor. The student let out a pained cry. Then, like a shooting star, he shot into the distance and disappeared without a trace. One had to know that this student was an expert of the Shen Air Hall and an emissary of God. But now, the emissary of God had been sent flying, and the armor that the god had rewarded him with had been shattered. Yu Yu's husband's strength was too terrifying. Who is he? Why is he so powerful? But I've never heard of his name. Oh my god, I can't even see his moves clearly. Tisk, with such strength. Could it be that he's an expert of the third hall? Everyone who wanted to watch a good show was dumbfounded at this moment. Duan Tianzhan from the Duan clan narrowed his eyes as he looked at Lin Ling with a grave expression. The most ironic thing was that even now, he still didn't know who Lin Ling was. On the contrary, the people of the Snow Wind Academy were used to it. Lin Ling was the number 1 in the Shen Air Hall. If he was not powerful, then it would be strange. Teacher, why did you gather at the Hidden Fog Island? Lin Ling led Yu Yu and the others towards the Snow Wind Academy. Regarding this mission, to be honest, he didn't really care about this kind of thing. But since he was already here, then he would stick to it. The purpose of this gathering on the Hidden Fog Island is to have a martial Dao exchange. Since the Hidden Fog Island is not a trial for new students, there are no requirements. The teacher from the Snow Wind Academy looked at Lin Ling and said, although it was the first time he had spoken to Lin Ling, but he had seen how strong Lin Ling was. So that's how it is. How long will it take? Lin Ling asked again. About 3 months, I guess. The teacher immediately replied. Lin Ling nodded. To him, the Hidden Fog Island could be a part of it. But since Yu and the others were participating, then Lin Ling planned to follow them for 3 months. Lin Ling, are you going to represent the Snow Wind Academy? The teacher asked again. Of course. Lin Ling did not hide anything and replied immediately. That's great. The teacher immediately became happy, and so did Zhuang Yanming and the others. This time, the students from the Snow Wind Academy participating in the Hidden Fog Island were from the Shen-Yi Hall, the Shen-Air Hall, and the Shen-Air Hall. Among them, the Shen-Air Hall was the strongest. But since Lin Ling was also participating, then the strongest in the Snow Wind Academy would definitely be Lin Ling. Have you found out? Who is that person? Yes, the son of the devil, Lin Ling. I heard that he is the #1 in the Shen-Air Hall of the Snow Wind Academy. So it's him. The students from the other 5 academies immediately narrowed their eyes. Many of them had evil intentions in their eyes. There were even murderous intents. Although they hid it well, they did reveal their murderous intents towards Lin Ling. The murderous intents were undoubtedly from the Duan family and the New Heavenly Court. These 2 forces and Lin Ling would not rest until one of them was dead. Lin Ling did not care about all of this. Even if he knew, he would not care. This was because if anyone dared to kill him on the Hidden Fog Island, then Lin Ling could guarantee that they would not leave the Hidden Fog Island alive. The Hidden Fog Island is open. Everyone, go in. Remember, visit those seniors. It will definitely be of great help to your martial arts. Finally, a teacher shouted. Then, the students from the 6 academies entered the Hidden Fog Island. The teachers did not follow them and allowed the students to show off their skills on the island. Lin Ling brought Yu and the others into the Hidden Fog Island. They then realized that it was a huge island. The entire island was covered by a hazy fog and an ancient aura permeated the air. Brother Ling, it's been a long time since I trained with you. Yes. Yu and the others were undoubtedly happy to be able to follow Lin Ling, yes. But Brother Ling came to the final world earlier than all of you, so he is considered half a master. All of you are considered guests, so Brother Ling will be the tour guide and bring all of you around. Yes. Chapter 35:14. Master Qing Yun. Since Brother Ling is a tour guide, do you know what's on the Hidden Fog Island? Shen Yuan teased. His words made Lin Ling smile awkwardly. Lin Ling did not know much about the Hidden Fog Island. This is the residence of a few retired seniors. They have been here for tens of thousands of years. Although they have retired, their knowledge is still there, so the academy has arranged for us to visit them for guidance. Shen Yuan said immediately. So it's a place of cowardly ruffians. Hearing this, Lin Ling nodded in realization. Brother Ling, why do you say that? If your words were to spread out, those seniors would definitely be unhappy. Shen Yuan and Yu were immediately surprised by Lin Ling's words. Lin Ling, on the other hand, didn't really care. He shook his head and said, if these martial artists who live in seclusion here had courage, why would they rest here? A truly courageous martial artist, no matter how big the storm was, would still move forward resolutely. If he stopped and had the thought of returning home, this meant that he was not far from being eliminated. Big brother Lin Ling is right. Hearing this, Shen Yuan and the others suddenly understood. The 3 of them chatted as they walked, feeling relaxed and at ease. Just as they walked further and further away, several figures suddenly appeared where they were standing just a moment ago. The son of devil, Lin Ling. Since we've run into him today, we have to kill him no matter what. That's right. I heard that a big shot has taken a liking to him. Even Xueqi and martial god doesn't dare to touch him. Therefore, the Hidden Fog Island is an opportunity. Rumor has it that his strength is not weak. However, we are all emissaries of God, so killing him shouldn't be too difficult. Soon, these people disappeared without a trace. On the other side, Lin Ling was casually walking with Yu Yu and the others, and they encountered some demonic beasts along the way. However, these demonic beasts couldn't enter Lin Ling's eyes at all, so it didn't take long for them to be killed by Yu Yu and the others. Lin Ling also took the opportunity to guide Yu Yu and the others. Big Brother Ling, our teacher warned us that there is only one purpose for this trip, and that is to pay a visit to Master Qing Yun. Yu Yu suddenly said after the three of them had walked for a long time. Master Qing Yun was a respected senior in the final world. However, he had been severely injured in a battle in the past. Since then, he had retreated from this world and lived in seclusion. All the academies respected him, so all the students who entered the hidden fog island had to visit Master Qing Yun. Of course, this wasn't a hard and fast rule. It was just that it would be best if they could visit. Since that's the case, let's go take a look. Lin Ling naturally didn't care. He saw that Yu Yu and the others were looking forward to it, so he followed their wishes. Master Qing Yun isn't hard to find. Xian Yuan Ge, seemed to have done her homework before coming. She grinned and was in charge of leading the way. Lin Ling followed the two girls and realized that there weren't any cities on the hidden fog island. There were only small rural towns. The martial Dao masters lived in these rural towns. It was quite interesting. When they arrived at Master Qing Yun's place, Yu Yu and the others realized that it was extremely lively. All the students from the various academies were paying a visit to Master Qing Yun. It seemed that as long as they could get Master Qing Yun's signature, they would be rewarded when they returned to their teacher. They could even be promoted from God's first hall to God's second hall. Hey, isn't this the first demon son of Snow Wind Academy's God's second hall, Lin Ling? You're really late. Don't tell me you're looking down on Master Qing Yun. At this moment, a laugh suddenly rang out and interrupted everyone's conversation. In an instant, countless people looked at the three people who had suddenly arrived. The three of them were Lin Ling, Yu Yu and the others. The first hall of God's second hall. Lin Ling? I seem to have heard of his name. This guy seems to be very famous in the 9 states. Not long ago, I heard that he destroyed the Flame Emperor of the Flame State. He's so arrogant. Sigh, people nowadays think that they have some ability and are impatient. They don't know that there's always someone better than them. Suddenly, whispers could be heard from all around. Many people had heard of Lin Ling's name. However, Lin Ling had ignored them previously. This made them target Lin Ling in their hearts. After all, everyone present was the best of their respective academies. In the 9 states, every one of them was a domineering existence. How could they submit to others so easily? He, the son of Demon Lin Ling. I heard that he's going to enter the divine list. As expected, ordinary people like us can't compare to him. Divine list? You must be joking. How could he be qualified with his mediocre skills? That's a fool's dream. Only God's messengers can enter the divine list. I don't think he's God's messengers at all. Speaking of the divine list, everyone's emotions were heightened. Everyone sat in 2s and 3s and expressed their opinions. However, Lin Ling and the others were still standing. The main reason was that no one came to greet them. Master Qing Yun's people did not seem to care about Lin Ling either. Of course, Lin Ling and the others were guests after all. They had come from afar. Therefore, even if Master Qing Yun's people were too lazy to greet them, they still had to put up a front. Junior brother Lin Ling, please forgive us for our previous neglect. We were very surprised when we heard that you've entered the divine list. That's why we forgot to greet you. After a while, a representative of Master Qing Yun said with a smile. He seemed to be apologizing, but in reality, he did not mean what he said. Sigh. No wonder he has to hide in the hidden fog island. He's so silly and not smart. If such a person leaves the hidden fog island, he won't have a future. This is what they mean by seeing a spot and knowing the whole leopard. At this moment, Lin Ling sighed and said, "What?" The people who were still discussing earlier all had their mouths wide open. Lin Ling seemed to be mocking Master Qing Yun's people. Did I hear wrongly? Why don't you try slapping me? Someone exclaimed. Slap. The person next to him immediately slapped him, telling him that he was not dreaming. Lin Ling was indeed mocking Master Qing Yun's people. Silly and not clever at all. He must be talking about Master Qing Yun's people. As the saying went, seeing a spot and knowing the whole leopard. It meant that Master Qing Yun's people were silly. Therefore, Master Qing Yun was probably no better. No wonder he had to hide in the hidden fog island. If he did not hide in the hidden fog island, he would not have a future. As soon as this was said, more and more people exclaimed in shock. Indeed, Master Qing Yun was not very powerful. Otherwise, he would not have hidden in the hidden fog island. However, he had seniority. Otherwise, the academy would not have sent students to visit Master Qing Yun. However, a student from the academy had just said that Master Qing Yun was worthless. If this student's teacher was here, he would probably be enraged to the point of no return. Linling, you're too outrageous. You're smearing the reputation of our 6 great academies. You're making Master Qing Yun think that the quality of our batch of students isn't high and that we don't know how to respect our teachers. Chapter 35:15. Provocation. As for the students from Snow Wind Academy, especially Zhuang Yanming, Chu Yun and the rest, they were all secretly laughing bitterly. Lacking in quality and not knowing how to respect one's teacher? This sentence was very accurate, because Lin Ling had always been like this in the Snow Wind Academy. Not to mention teachers and seniors, even the headmaster, that guy did not even put them in his eyes. Duan Tianzhan thought that by putting such a big label on Lin Ling, he would definitely embarrass Lin Ling. What he didn't know was that Lin Ling didn't care at all. Things are going to get interesting. Lin Ling doesn't put anyone in his eyes in the Wind Snow Academy. But there are 6 academies gathered here. The other 5 academies won't tolerate this kind of humiliation. Yeah, and not only the people from the other academies, even Master Qing Yun's people don't like Lin Ling. Chu Yun and the others immediately started whispering to each other. Lin Ling dared to speak before because he felt that Grandmaster Qing Yun's people were neglecting him. They made him stand for so long and didn't even invite him to take a seat. But who would have thought that Grandmaster Qing Yun's people wouldn't accept it? What do you mean by respecting your master? This young master. May I ask if this Master Qing Yun is your master? Or your father? Lin Ling looked at Duan Tianzhan and asked calmly. What nonsense are you talking about? Duan Tianzhan said angrily. Great Master Qing Yun is a grandmaster of the Mount Tai and the Big Dipper. How could he be my father? You are such a despicable person. This Master Qing Yun is not your father, nor is he your master. Why are you so agitated? Maybe you didn't even treat your master so grandly. You're just a wretched wretch. Lin Ling shook his head and looked calmly at Duan Tianzhan. Duan Tianzhan was immediately enraged, but Lin Ling spoke again. I think this Master Qing Yun is actually a martial arts senior who was eliminated. Although he has some experience in martial arts, his experience may not be accurate. Otherwise, why would he be eliminated and hide here in seclusion? So all of you, don't listen to what others say. Just focus on pursuing your own martial arts. This tone was simply the tone of a senior. Those who didn't know him would think that Lin Ling was Master Qing Yun. This time, everyone was so angry that their noses were crooked, but they couldn't refute it for a while. Haha. Yu and the others were secretly laughing. They knew what Lin Ling meant. Lin Ling despised deserters the most. Even if Grandmaster Qing Yun wasn't strong, as long as he was still working hard, he was worthy of the title of Grandmaster. However, Grandmaster Qing Yun was just a deserter, hiding in seclusion. Why should he be respected so much? Moreover, Yu and the others knew that Lin Ling treated them the same way. Lin Ling had been here for so long, but Master Qing Yun didn't let anyone greet him. That was why Lin Ling didn't put him in his eyes. Your Excellency, be careful of your words. Everyone was furious. Grandmaster Qing Yun's people were even more furious. Someone immediately said in a bad mood. Lin Ling naturally heard the anger in those words. He didn't care and smiled. This place is isolated from the world. What kind of disaster can there be? In my opinion, this place is actually a country of women. When this country of women was mentioned, everyone was even more furious. Lin Ling actually used this kind of analogy. Could it be that he was saying that this place of seclusion had no risk and was suitable for women to live in? What an imposing manner. It's very similar to our imposing manner in the past. Men, come and take a seat. At this time, a smile suddenly sounded. Many people knew that it was Grandmaster Qing Yun's voice. As expected of Grandmaster Qing Yun. A great person like you is magnanimous. You don't care about this clown at all. Yes. Moreover, this person's spirit is too sharp. Sooner or later, he will kick an iron plate. Yes. Hearing Grandmaster Qing Yun's voice, flattering voices came from all around. Lin Ling didn't care at all. Looking at the 3 chairs flying towards him, he wanted to receive them. But soon after, he immediately discovered that there was something wrong with those chairs. Their speed was very fast, reaching 300 world speed. Very clearly, this Grandmaster Qing Yun purposely wanted to teach Lin Ling a lesson. On the surface, he asked him to take a seat. But the speed of the chairs was very fast. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to catch up with them. If Lin Ling didn't find a chair to sit on, he would definitely become a laughingstock. This little friend, why don't you sit on it? Could it be that you don't like my broken bamboo chair? As if sensing Lin Ling's difficulty, Grandmaster Qing Yun's voice floated out. His words were filled with thick sarcasm and ridicule. At first, the surrounding people were still doubtful. But gradually, they reacted and one by one, they began to laugh. Sit. Weren't you very arrogant before? Now that you are invited to sit, you don't even dare to sit. Sit. Sit my ass. Those chairs have already surpassed 300 world speed. He can't even see through that kind of speed, so how can he sit? Looking down on Senior, now you know regret. After the laughter, all kinds of mocking voices rang out. In the eyes of the crowd, the 3 chairs were spinning around. Their speed was extremely fast. Let alone catching them, just being able to see them meant that their strength was somewhat extraordinary. Little friend, why don't you sit? At the crucial moment, Grandmaster Qing Yun's kind voice occasionally floated out. It seemed like a question. But in reality, everyone knew that he was trying to suppress Lin Ling. Grandmaster Qing Yun, is this how you treat your guests? Lin Ling smiled and asked with his hands behind his back. That's not it. It's just that some people are arrogant and unruly. That's why the Academy wants us, the older generation, to suppress them and let them know that there is always someone better. So when dealing with those who break the law, we have to be a bit stricter. Grandmaster Qing Yun's voice floated out again. Is the Academy blind? It's not good to find some real warriors. Why do they have to find some deserters, women, cowards? Could it be that the Academy wants to teach us that in the future, if we feel that the road ahead is difficult, we can find a place to hide and live in seclusion? Obediently become a deserter? Lin Ling immediately sneered. What a venomous mouth. This time, Grandmaster Qing Yun couldn't hold it in anymore. His expression was extremely ugly. But at this moment, Lin Ling's voice floated out again. Moreover, does the Academy think that by finding some deserters, they can suppress us? Hee, the Academy really knows how to joke. This speed is just that I, Lin Ling, don't want to sit. Otherwise, if I want to sit, even if the sky falls and the earth rends, nothing can stop me. Shameless boasting. Fuck, he can't even see through the speed of those chairs. He actually dares to boast like this. If you have the ability, then let him continue standing. Hearing Lin Ling's words, the surrounding people were boiling with anger. Lin Ling couldn't see through the speed of the chair's rotation. In order to not lose face, he actually said that he didn't care. Haha. Grandmaster Qing Yun also thought so. He let out a disdainful laugh. However, before his laughter ended, a pop sound rang out. Lin Ling was still standing there. However, his left arm stretched out and actually grabbed onto one of the rotating chairs. Bang! Chapter 35:16. Bullshit. With such little speed, it's really like a turtle crawling. At the same time, Lin Ling said in disdain. What? He can actually see through the speed of 300 worlds? Everyone immediately stopped mocking him and spoke in grave voices. Although 300 world speed wasn't considered a top speed to them, they had always believed that Lin Ling didn't possess such a speed. Master Qing Yun also frowned slightly. However, he immediately sped up the speed of the chair. He did not believe that a junior could be so powerful. The speed of the chair has increased again. I'm afraid it has reached the speed of 400 worlds. 400 world speed. That's a speed that no early-stage martial ancestor can achieve. As expected of Master Qing Yun. Some of them began to see stars, but some of the stronger students could clearly see that the speed of the chair had increased. Pah! However, as soon as they cried out in surprise, Lin Ling didn't even look in front of him.
With a grab of his arm, he forcefully pulled down another chair at a terrifying speed and finally placed it on the ground.
Yu, this is your chair. Sit. When his voice drifted out, the entire place fell silent. How could Lin Ling catch it with the speed of 400 realms?
One had to know that this kind of 400 world speed did not maintain the state of shooting in a straight line.
Instead, it rotated in all directions irregularly. It was absolutely impossible to rely on luck to catch the chair. It was also impossible to rely on one's eyesight.
Because even with eyesight without the corresponding speed, one would not be able to catch the rapidly shooting chair at all.
To be honest, playing these little tricks is really beneath my status. While the crowd was still in shock, Lin Ling said nonchalantly, "Did I lose my identity?" Even Master Qing Yun didn't say these words. And you, Lin Ling, actually have the nerve to say it? Could it be that in front of Master Qing Yun, you are the real master? As for Master Qing Yun, he was undoubtedly feeling the most awkward because he had wanted to teach Lin Ling a lesson in front of everyone. But in the end, Lin Ling had taught him a lesson. His eyebrows twitched and before he knew it, the last chair had begun to roll madly, and cracks had appeared in the surrounding space. Obviously, the last chair had been pushed to its limit by him. 500 sector speed. Even an ordinary late-stage martial progenitor would not be able to achieve such speed. As for Lin Ling, he was only at the Saint Realm. He had never experienced such speed in his entire life. Ignorant brat. After activating the speed of 500 worlds, Grandmaster Qing Yun was elated. He had been living in seclusion here for so long, and this was the first time he met someone who dared to look down on him. But now, he wanted that ignorant brat to regret underestimating him. Bang! However, just as his words fell, the void rippled. Lin Ling's arm made a quick tug in the air, and a dragon claw light appeared. In the next moment, a chair seemed to have been summoned, and Lin Ling smashed it heavily onto the ground. And Lin Ling directly sat on it. When I want to sit, no one can stop me. Whenever I want to sit, I will sit. Under countless gazes, Lin Ling sat in the center of the crowd with his legs crossed. He was as arrogant as he could be.
However, the surroundings had long since become deathly silent. Grandmaster Qing Yun appeared and stared at Lin Ling with fear in his eyes. Lin Ling looked at him indifferently and said fearlessly, "I've already said it." What master? To put it bluntly, he's a deserter, a woman, and a coward. I really don't understand why the Academy wants us to visit these outdated martial artists. To be honest, they're completely useless to our martial arts journey. His words were unbridled. However, Grandmaster Qing Yun's face turned green and red. He could not refute him. Lin Ling, don't be too arrogant. After a short moment of silence, Duan Tianzhan finally reacted and pointed at Lin Ling angrily. Now the more he looked at Lin Ling, the more he disliked him. He wanted nothing more than to kill him on the spot. What? You don't accept it? All right, I'll give you a chance. If you can bring back the chair that I threw out, what's the point of me apologizing to you? Lin Ling narrowed his eyes and looked at him. Then, he stared at a student beside him. When that student was looked at by Lin Ling, his entire body trembled inexplicably. The shock that Lin Ling had given him was simply too strong. Why are you so flustered? I won't hit you. Lin Ling looked at him calmly. With a kick of his right leg, that student's chair flew up. Then, Lin Ling grabbed it and threw it into the distance. With this throw, Lin Ling had secretly used 5,000 boundary force. It was like a real dragon swinging its tail. The most frightening thing was that although the throw was very strong, Lin Ling could leave the chair unscathed. This showed how precise his control of his physical strength was. And when Lin Ling threw the chair, it instantly disappeared. That speed was definitely more than 500 boundary force. Go and find it. Just as everyone was in disbelief, Lin Ling looked at Duan Tianzhan and said calmly. Duan Tianzhan's eyes were trembling. It was too fast. He could not react at all. Now, he could not even sense where the chair was flying. If you can't find it, then don't talk nonsense. Seeing that Duan Tianzhan was unable to speak, Lin Ling paused and suddenly shouted. This voice directly frightened everyone to the point that their hearts were pounding. You go let's go. I said that visiting seniors is quite boring. Ignoring everyone's shock, Lin Ling said in a bored manner. He held Yu Yu's hands and slowly left. As for Master Qing Yun and the other strong cultivators of the various academies, they were all sitting there in silence. Their hearts were extremely heavy because so many of them had been humiliated by Lin Ling alone. Kill him, we must kill him. His strength is at most comparable to an initial stage martial ancestor. We have a middle stage martial ancestor. That's right. I have a grade 4 ultimate desolate body. Even if he doesn't die, he will lose a layer of skin. Duan Tianzhan and the others stood up and shouted coldly.
Your Excellencies, you want to kill him? The experts from Wind Snow Academy stood up and said, this has nothing to do with you. Let me tell you, if you dare to help him, don't blame us for killing all of you. Duan Tianzhan immediately pointed at those people. He said coldly. Help him? The experts from Wind Snow Academy shook their heads. They did not intend to help Lin Ling. Instead, they wanted to remind Duan Tianzhan that Lin Ling's strength was stronger than he had imagined. But now there was no need to remind them. It could only be said that Duan Tianzhan had underestimated Lin Ling. Of course, this included Master Qing Yun. Chapter 35-17. Teach Lin Ling a lesson. After leaving Master Qing Yun's residence, Lin Ling did not have a destination in the short term. Initially, he wanted to leave the hidden Fog Island. However, he was afraid that he would be a burden to Yu Yu and the rest. Therefore, he decided to rest on the hidden Fog Island for the time being.
Big Brother Ling, I'm afraid that your strength can be ranked among the top of the 36 academies.
Yeah, I heard that the Divine 3 halls of the 36 academies have a divine list. All of them are emissaries of God, and even some teachers are included. If you can enter the divine list, then you will be an extremely famous expert in the final world. While walking with Yu Yu and the others kept explaining. Lin Ling didn't know much about this because after he came to the final world, he spent most of his time cultivating in Snow-Blowing City. He didn't know much about the powerhouses in the final world. Seeing Lin Ling's frown, Yu Yu and the others smiled. They knew that Lin Ling must be confused. All the experts of the 3 halls can compete for the divine ranking. Rumor has it that this is the best opportunity to become a god's emissary. It can be said that those who enter the divine ranking are 100% emissaries. On the other hand, not all emissaries can enter the divine ranking. There is another benefit to entering the divine ranking, and that is that you have a chance to meet the gods. Yu Yu is right. Basically, as long as they are confident in themselves, they will try their best to become a master on the divine list. Hearing this, Lin Ling nodded, God's messenger, so that's how it is. If I remember correctly, in order to become a holy knight of God, the first thing you need to do is become a God's messenger. That's right. The holy knights of God have supreme authority in the final world. They can travel between the main cities and sub-cities. Even if they violate the rules, they will be safe and sound. Yu Yu said again. She and Shen Yuangu clearly yearned for the divine paladin. However, Lin Ling didn't pay much attention to this. If he remembered correctly, Duan Yi was a 2-talisman god sacred knight. In the end, he had still been killed by Lin Ling, and the Duan family hadn't dared to seek revenge. You must be Lin Ling, kneel down. After a long while, when Lin Ling and the other 2 were about to find a quiet place to rest, several voices immediately sounded. A dozen figures appeared in the sky, and when they saw that Lin Ling and the others wanted to rest in a quiet mountain range, they immediately attacked. They activated their world essence and completely destroyed the quiet mountain range on the ground. Lin Ling, do you think you'll have a good time after offending us? After destroying the mountain range, those people coldly looked at Lin Ling and the others and said, You guys are too much. What academy are you from? Yu Yu and Shen Yuangu could no longer hold themselves back when they saw the other party's unbridled behavior. Yu Yu, this matter has nothing to do with you. We're here for him. As for which academy we're from, it's best that you don't ask. It won't do you any good to know. Those people calmly looked at Yu Yu and the others and said. Then, they stared at Lin Ling and said, Weren't you very arrogant? Why don't you have anything to say now? Or are you afraid? At this moment, Lin Ling stared at them in surprise. He hadn't expected these people to be so brazen. However, after thinking about it, he understood. Lin Ling was very famous in Snow City. Even the elites of the Snow Wind Academy didn't dare to provoke him. However, this didn't mean that the other academies would give him face. Firstly, The elites of the other academies didn't know Lin Ling's background. Secondly, their backgrounds weren't small. Therefore, when they persuaded Lin Ling, they directly attacked Lin Ling without any hesitation. Lin Ling also had a strange feeling because he hadn't been bullied like this in a long time. "What do you want?" Lin Ling asked indifferently. "What do you want?" Hee. Many people want to see a good show. The number of people is beyond your imagination. So no matter what, you have to leave something behind. This way, we can report to the higher-ups. Those people thought that Lin Ling was afraid and couldn't help but sneer. "What if I refuse?" Lin Ling was still expressionless. Hee, it's not up to you to refuse. I don't know what kind of person you used to be, but this is the final world. Your previous tricks won't work in the final world. Brothers, attack. The leading young man suddenly shook his head and smiled. Then, he waved his hand heavily. Obviously, he didn't want to know Lin Ling's previous experience. He just wanted to teach Lin Ling a lesson so that he could report to the higher-ups. If he knew Lin Ling's experience, he probably wouldn't dare to act rashly at this moment. Because in the 9 regions, in the 10,000 realms, Lin Ling's name had long been recognized as one of the most untouchable existences. Sage Realm? After receiving the order to attack, the others sneered. They took a step forward and grabbed at Lin Ling. Their strength was not weak. They had a 3rd-grade ultimate desolate body and the strength of an early-stage martial ancestor. Logically speaking, it would be easy for them to capture Lin Ling with such strength. It was a pity that they didn't find out what Lin Ling represented in the Snow Wind Academy, and how much value Lin Ling, the number 1 in the Shin Hall, had. At the same time, Lin Ling also made his move. He didn't need to use any means. All he needed was the space-time divine steel. Wherever he looked, the space-time divine steel would suppress. It was impossible to guard against. What kind of talent is this? Not good. It's at least a 5th-grade ultimate desolate body. Heavens, this person actually has a 5th-grade ultimate desolate body. After a single exchange, those people immediately knew how terrifying Lin Ling was. 5th grade, he actually had a 5th-grade desolate body. Furthermore, this ultimate desolate body was very strange. It was fast and could attack silently. In just a few breaths, those people were immediately smashed to the ground. Their minds were constantly buzzing, as if they still couldn't believe what had happened in front of them. A sage had actually defeated them, martial ancestor, so easily. How was this possible? Speak, who ordered you to do this? Who else is involved in this matter? Lin Ling had his hands behind his back as he looked at the group of people indifferently. Throughout the whole process, Lin Ling was not worried at all about this group of people. I don't know. If you have the ability, kill us. Otherwise, don't even think about knowing anything. Those people who were suppressed by the space-time divine steel said stubbornly as they shook their heads. They were extremely sullen. They had thought that they would have some achievements, but in the end, they were defeated by Lin Ling in a single exchange. It was simply embarrassing. Hee, even if you don't say it, I've already guessed it. However, Lin Ling shook his head indifferently as he looked into the distance. You've been watching for so long. Do you plan to continue watching? In the distant sky, a large number of people suddenly walked out. It was Sheng Daiming and the others. It was obvious that Lin Ling had already noticed them. Lin Ling, the person who wants to attack you is Duan Tianzhan. Zhuang Yanming and the others immediately said when they walked out. They weren't worried about Lin Ling at all. They knew that ordinary people wouldn't be able to harm Lin Ling. I knew it was him. When Lin Ling heard their words, he wasn't surprised and nodded. Chapter 35:18. Strip them naked and hang them on the streets. By the way, this Duan Tianzhan has an older half-brother called Duan Wuzhan. He is the holy knight of the 4 talisman gods, and together with Duan Wuhan, they are collectively known as the 4 talisman twins. Suddenly, someone seemed to have thought of something and said solemnly, Duan Wuhan? Lin Ling's eyes suddenly lit up. Last time in the Starry Sky Forest, Lin Ling had come into contact with Duan Wuhan. Duan Wuhan was the only Duan family youth who had survived the catastrophe in the Starry Sky Forest. Of course, this was also the reason why the Duan family's old ancestor had protected him. No wonder he's more arrogant than ordinary Duan clan disciples. So that's why. Lin Ling nodded in realization, but he didn't care too much about it. He estimated that his current strength was weaker than Duan Wu Hen's, but not by much, so he didn't have to worry about anything. Strip them of their clothes and hang them nearby. I think the students passing by will be very interested to see them. Lin Ling continued, but his words made Zhuang Yanming and the others' eyes light up. Strip off my clothes? Moreover, they were hanging all around. Interesting. One must know that those who could enter the hidden fog island were all prideful people. Now that they were stripped and hung on the street, it would be worse than being killed if word got out. How dare you? Sure enough, the people suppressed by the space-time divine steel all started roaring furiously. Hee, they're asking me if I dare? Hearing this, Lin Ling laughed mockingly. These guys probably didn't know what kind of person he was. Lin Ling, Zhuang Yanming and the rest laughed mockingly. They had never seen anything that Lin Ling did not dare to do. Rumble. Lin Ling's brows twitched, and the time and space divine steel pressed down again, severely injuring those people. After that, they were stripped of their clothes and hung on the streets. What kind of academy are you guys from? The Hidden Fog Island is a place to cultivate one's mind. What are you guys trying to do by taking off your clothes here? Dirty. I didn't expect the students nowadays to be so dirty. Moreover, it's fine if you're naked, but you don't even have the slightest self-awareness. Look at that thing, it's even smaller than my little finger. It really raped my eyes. The Hidden Fog Island was a place where some powerhouses retired and returned to their hometowns. Therefore, many of the older generation martial artists who lived in seclusion started pointing and gossiping when they saw those people running around naked. The naked people's faces were as red as their buttocks. They couldn't wait to put on their clothes and leave, but Lin Ling had injured them again. Their injuries made it impossible for them to untie the ropes, so they could only continue to be hung up. What made them want to vomit blood the most was that the people on the side of the road were not only pointing at them, but they also complained that they were not good-looking. One of the old women even used a stick to lift up their pants, then sighed and said, "You're so small. Can you still do it? How can I face people in the future? Lin Ling, you and I are absolutely irreconcilable." Those people really vomited blood, and some of them even fainted. Fortunately, they were saved by people who were passing by, but in exchange, they were pointed and gossiped by the other students. Lin Ling and the others continued to move forward. Along the way, they naturally encountered people who tried to provoke them. In the end, they were all stripped naked and hung on the streets. In the blink of an eye, even Duan Tianzhan received the news. How dare you? When Duan Tianzhan heard the news, he was furious. This was because everyone knew that he was the one who gave the order to teach Lin Ling a lesson. In the end, Lin Ling stripped all the people who came to teach him a lesson and hung them in every corner of the Hidden Fog Island. In this way, everyone knew that Lin Ling was humiliating him and completely ignoring him, Duan Tianzhan. This Lin Ling is too arrogant. He hung all the people who provoked him on the streets. He has offended all 5 academies at the same time. Other than the Wind Snow Academy, which other academy has not been hung? However, this Lin Ling is really powerful. This is because there are a few top experts from the Shen Air Hall who could not subdue him. The people who followed Duan Tianzhan started to whisper among themselves. They started to take Lin Ling seriously. This was because there were only 2 reasons why Lin Ling dared to be so unscrupulous. First, he was truly fearless and full of confidence. Second, Lin Ling was a lunatic who did not care about the consequences of his actions. If it was the second reason, it would not be a big deal, but the first reason was the most frightening. Oh no, young Master Duan, Lin Ling is here. Just as Duan Tianzhan and the others were furious, someone shouted in panic. Then, they saw 3 figures slowly walking over from the distant horizon. Around the 3 figures were a large number of people who seemed to be from the Wind Snow Academy. Most importantly, the person leading the 3 figures could not be more familiar. Who else could it be but Lin Ling? This time, the people around Duan Tianzhan all frowned. They did not expect Lin Ling to be so arrogant. They had not even taught Lin Ling a lesson, and Lin Ling had taken the initiative to come knocking on their door. Lin Ling, what is the meaning of this? From afar, Duan Tianzhan looked at Lin Ling and roared angrily. Lin Ling was not only not giving him face, he was simply not taking him seriously. Around them, the people from the various academies were also watching and gasping. They did not expect Lin Ling to be so arrogant. Duan Tianzhan, right? Your little tricks are really useless against me. Lin Ling also stared at Duan Tianzhan. Ever since he knew that Duan Tianzhan was going to teach him a lesson, Lin Ling did not intend to hide anything. Today, my purpose is very simple. I'm going to teach you a lesson, then strip you naked and hang you on the streets. This will be the end of this matter. Then, Lin Ling spoke again. Arrogant enough. This guy is even more arrogant than young Master Duan. Yes, young Master Duan and Lin Ling are not on good terms. Young Master Duan has not even made a move, and Lin Ling has already made the first move. Is he not afraid of offending some big shot?
Perhaps Lin Ling is also deliberately mystifying things.
The people around started to whisper, and they looked at Lin Ling with a little more respect. As for Duan Tianzhan, he was undoubtedly infuriated. He wanted to strip Lin Ling naked and did it openly. Since young, this was the first time he had been oppressed by someone in such a domineering manner.
Why can't bear to?
Let me give you a piece of advice. If you wait until I make a move, you'll suffer a lot. Seeing Duan Tianzhan gnashing his teeth, Lin Ling spoke again. Bullshit. When have you ever seen someone take off their own clothes? Stop acting in front of me. I want to see who's going to take off whose clothes today. Duan Tianzhan roared angrily and activated his strength. 4th grade Ultimate Desolate Body. Level 3 Martial Ancestor Realm Cultivation. His strength was indeed not weak. No wonder he was so arrogant. Unfortunately, such strength was not enough to deal with Lin Ling currently. Lin Ling's opponents, other than the experts from the 3rd hall, were not opponents that he cared about. Chapter 35-19. Settle the score with Master Qing Yun. Lin Ling had also fused his talent. His skin turned pitch black, and at the same time, the illusionary god world appeared, controlling a part of the world. His speed was extremely fast, and in addition to the endless illusions, Duan Tianzhan could not see him clearly at all. I have to say that I overestimated you. I originally wanted to defeat you in 10 moves, but from the looks of it, I don't even need 10 moves. Lin Ling's voice was ethereal. As for Duan Tianzhan, his eyes were wide open. His talent, Red Afterglow Ghost, could not see through Lin Ling's means at all. Bang! Almost at the same time, an earth-shattering force struck Duan Tianzhan's chest. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. The void around Duan Tianzhan's body cracked. Following that, he swept his gaze and immediately discovered that his talent, Red Afterglow Ghost, had been destroyed by Lin Ling's punch. Pwah! He spat out another mouthful of blood, and his entire body began to bend over like a cooked prawn. What? Duan Tianzhan has the power of the ancestors, and as much as 30%. But against Lin Ling, this power of the ancestors was not even used before Duan Tianzhan was defeated. How is this Lin Ling so strong? The faces of the people from the various academies turned pale. They were naturally aware of Duan Tianzhan's strength. With his status as a god's 2nd hall, he had once defeated an expert from the god's 3rd hall. However, such strength was nothing against Lin Ling. Subconsciously, many people looked at the Snow Wind Academy's experts and realized that they did not look surprised. This meant that the Snow Wind Academy's experts had long known of Lin Ling's strength. Why can't you strip yourself for no reason? Why must I do it? At this moment, Lin Ling was shaking his head. The space-time divine steel had appeared to suppress Duan Tianzhan. Following that, he waved his right hand and stripped Duan Tianzhan of his clothes, throwing him to the ground. To him, to defeat him Lin Ling, one had to have at least a 5th grade Ultimate Desolate Body. Otherwise it was nothing. You guys seem to be very close to Duan Tianzhan. Do you want me to do it, or do you want to do it yourselves? After knocking Duan Tianzhan unconscious, Lin Ling looked at the people from the academy and said, well, we're innocent. We didn't intend to attack you. Spare my life, spare my life. Don't go too far so that we can meet again in the future. Everyone who was close to Duan Tianzhan started to panic. Such an excuse is no different from what a 3-year-old child would say. However, Lin Ling shook his head. He had been practicing martial arts all his life. What had he not seen? So, those kinds of words were useless. He knew very well that if his strength was inferior to his opponent today, the one who would be humiliated would definitely be him. Strip it. I'll give you 3 breaths of time. Otherwise, if you wait for me to make my move, I won't leave a single piece of cloth for you."
Without further ado, Lin Ling's voice turned cold.
Take it off, I'll take it off right away. You don't have to do it. I can do it myself."
Those experts from the academy suddenly gritted their teeth and began to strip off their clothes one by one, leaving only their underpants on.
Tut tut, I didn't expect Gao Yumming, who is known as the god of war Yumming, to wear a doo-doo. Ha ha ha, the great master wears a doo-doo. Are you trying to make me laugh to death? That guy named Li Dao doesn't wear underpants. Hee, this is a bad habit. But there's so much hair between his legs. What's the use of that? Look at that thing. It's so small. If you don't look carefully, you won't even see it.
Seeing those experts stripping themselves naked, the gloating voices in the surroundings grew even louder. As for those who had stripped themselves naked, each of them revealed a smile that was uglier than crying. However, although they had stripped themselves, at least they didn't have to be hung up. After Lin Ling left, they could immediately put their clothes back on. As for those who were stripped naked by Lin Ling, they were unlucky. They had already fainted, so they could only continue to be hung up and admired by others.
This guy's way of doing things is really ruthless. Next, many people stared at Lin Ling with fear. They had never expected Lin Ling to do such a crazy thing.
It was as if Lin Ling didn't care even if the sky was pierced through.
Is this the husband of Yu and the other girls? He's really domineering. I originally wanted to rob Yu and the other girls. Now it seems that I'd better not think about it. Many people also began to whisper to each other. The main reason was that when Lin Ling appeared at the beginning, no one knew him. But he had 2 beautiful girls with him, which must have caused many people to be dissatisfied. However, after this incident, those voices of dissatisfaction had become much quieter. However, Lin Ling obviously didn't intend to give up, because he knew that if these experts dared to target him, Lin Ling, there must be someone behind them. Duan Tianzhan was obviously not enough. The other person must be someone with an extraordinary status. There weren't many people with charisma and reputation who had a grudge against Lin Ling. Therefore, Lin Ling quickly guessed who the other big shot was. It must be the so-called Master Qing Yun. Master Qing Yun was highly respected. However, because Lin Ling didn't take him seriously, he must have supported the other experts to teach Lin Ling a lesson. Lin Ling didn't have much to do on the hidden fog island. Since he had encountered such a situation, he might as well play with him. With Yu and the other girls, Lin Ling walked toward Master Qing Yun. What? This guy is walking toward Master Qing Yun. Oh my god, don't tell me he's going to strip Master Qing Yun too. I think that's very possible. Looking at Lin Ling, who left in a carefree manner, everyone was shocked. Thinking of the conflict between Lin Ling and Master Qing Yun, they felt that anything was possible. Not long ago, Lin Ling had visited Master Qing Yun with the others. However, because there were many people at that time, Master Qing Yun ignored Lin Ling and neglected Lin Ling. At that time, Lin Ling immediately retaliated against Master Qing Yun. Now that Duan Tianzhan was targeting Lin Ling, Master Qing Yun was probably one of his supporters. If Lin Ling knew about it, how could he let Master Qing Yun go? He must be crazy. Although Master Qing Yun has retired and returned to his hometown, he was still an expert in the past. That's right. Moreover, Master Qing Yun is still a senior. Lin Ling is going to settle the score with him. That's not giving him any face. Many people started to discuss among themselves. They were completely convinced by Lin Ling's way of doing things. At that moment, Lin Ling was still walking with Yu and the others. When Yu and the others found out about Lin Ling's actions, they were also shocked. Big Brother Ling, Master Qing Yun is an existence of Mount Tai and Northern Dipper after all. Aren't we being too reckless like this? Yu, the so-called master, is just a label that others gave him. To be honest, I don't think he's a master. Instead, I think he's a deserter. Chapter 35-20. A breath of immortal qi turned into divine qi. Who are you guys? As Lin Ling and the other two headed to Master Qing Yun's residence, Master Qing Yun's disciples were not happy about it. I'm here to ask if Master Qing Yun has sent someone to teach me a lesson. Lin Ling went straight to the point and spoke slowly. The disciples were shocked. Lin Ling was being too straightforward. They immediately said, "We don't know what you're talking about. Furthermore, do you know who Master Qing Yun is? Is it necessary for him to teach you a lesson? You think too highly of yourself. Yes or no, I hope Master Qing Yun can come out and say it himself. If it's a misunderstanding, Master Qing Yun can come out and explain himself." Lin Ling spoke calmly. Master Qing Yun's disciples were immediately put in a difficult position. Normally, Master Qing Yun would say that it had nothing to do with him. However, if he said so, wouldn't it mean that he was afraid of Lin Ling? What a joke! A master who was specially instructed by the college to pay a visit to a senior, would he be afraid of a junior? "Master Qing Yun, why don't you come out and speak?" Lin Ling spoke again when he saw the disciples in a difficult position. Meanwhile, the disciples of the various colleges were observing from afar, waiting for the outcome. However, many of them did not expect Lin Ling to have the guts to come out and ask. How audacious! So what if I am? At that instant, an aged voice could be heard. A kind-looking old man wearing a loose robe walked out from the crowd. The moment he appeared, an elegant aura filled the air, causing the crowd to feel a sense of reverence toward him. Master Qing Yun's cultivation had reached the late-stage martial progenitor realm. However, his talent was only average. That being said, people admired him because of his knowledge, not his talent and strength. Master Qing Yun! Many people exclaimed when they saw the old man. Master Qing Yun was highly valued by the academy. Every time a student entered the hidden fog island, they would definitely pay Master Qing Yun a visit. This also showed how unique Master Qing Yun was. "I see that you're lawless and unruly. Coincidentally, a student said that he wanted to teach you a lesson, so I agreed. I'm doing this for your own good. At least you'll suffer here. It's better than losing your life outside." Grandmaster Qing Yun looked at Lin Ling and directly admitted it. Because if he didn't admit it, it would mean that he was afraid of Lin Ling. With his seniority, how could he be afraid of Lin Ling? Seeing this, Lin Ling also smiled and nodded. He said lightly, "I didn't expect Master Qing Yun to be so straightforward. You are indeed daring to take responsibility for your actions. Since it's like this, I will also get straight to the point. Previously, those who wanted to teach me a lesson, I stripped them naked and hung them on the road." Lin Ling laughed. Master Qing Yun's eyes narrowed when he heard that. He didn't expect Lin Ling to be so arrogant. He stripped them naked and hung them on the road because he didn't like them. He was too arrogant. Just as he was about to speak, Lin Ling spoke again. "Of course, there's one more person who was stripped naked and hung on the road. That's you, Master Qing Yun." "What?" Master Qing Yun's eyes narrowed. Previously, he wanted to reprimand Lin Ling for being too arrogant and not taking anyone seriously. However, in the next moment, Lin Ling told him that he was going to strip him naked and hang him on the street. That meant that he didn't have to persuade him because he was also involved. Master Qing Yun couldn't help but point at Lin Ling. He was so angry that he was speechless. The surrounding onlookers gasped. Although they had already guessed it, they still couldn't believe it when they saw Lin Ling threatening Master Qing Yun with their own eyes. Most importantly, with Master Qing Yun's seniority, he was going to be stripped naked and hung on the street. Lin Ling didn't know how to respect his teacher. Now, is Master Qing Yun going to do it himself or am I, Lin Ling? Ignoring Master Qing Yun's anger, Lin Ling spoke again. "You ignorant child, you're dreaming." Master Qing Yun was enraged. His body began to emit an endless amount of treasure light. It seemed to be floating rapidly, causing the lower half of his body to disappear within the light. A strand of ancient immortal energy also quietly permeated the air. On Master Qing Yun's body, the light of the sun floated up, sacred and ancient. Master Qing Yun. Seeing this, many people shouted in excitement. Master Qing Yun was going to make his move. He was going to teach Lin Ling a lesson. Master Qing Yun was a person of virtue and prestige. If he were to teach Lin Ling a lesson, Lin Ling would definitely be dead. The sacred light of the sun slowly shone out. That strand of immortal energy actually wrapped around the sun, causing the treasure light to shoot up to the sky. It was sacred and inviolable. According to legends, this was a breath of Qing Yun's godly energy. It was a breath of God. Master Qing Yun's talent was very ordinary. All these years, he had been cultivating this breath.
When he cultivated it to a certain level, he could borrow it to become God. In reality, that breath of qi was indeed powerful. It actually showed signs of transforming into God's energy. A breath of immortal energy is gradually transforming into God's energy. Lin Ling's eyes couldn't help but flicker. However, he already knew that Master Qing Yun wasn't weak, so he wasn't too surprised. Instead, his hand reached out from the void and actually grabbed that breath of immortal energy. Then, with a bang, he actually grabbed that breath of immortal energy. However, upon closer inspection, that wasn't a breath of immortal energy, but a scripture. Unknowingly, that breath of immortal energy had already transformed into a scripture. And with this grab, Master Qing Yun's expression changed greatly. This was because he never thought that Lin Ling would actually be able to grab his 10 days, 1 leaf scripture. One had to know that this scripture was simply impossible to touch without great perseverance. In your dreams, Master Qing Yun spat out a breath of air at that page of scripture. That scripture immediately seemed to take root in the world and became motionless. And from afar, the scene was extremely shocking. Many people saw that Lin Ling's hand reached out. In the sky, a page of scripture was held in his hand. However, when Lin Ling wanted to pull the scripture, that scripture was impregnable and didn't move at all. Of course, even so, many people were surprised by Lin Ling's methods. After all, being able to grab that page of scripture explained everything. However, being able to grab it didn't mean that it could be moved. And Lin Ling also noticed that that page of scripture seemed to be connected to the 9 continents. It was firm and unyielding. It wouldn't shake even if the heavens and earth were to shatter. I don't believe it, Lin Ling muttered to himself. His palm turned black as if a black light was flowing. His 5 fingers instantly turned into the shape of a dragon's claw. Gotcha! The moment he suddenly grabbed the scripture, Master Qing Yun's expression changed greatly. Lin Ling actually had such a method. 10 days, 1 leaf, motionless scripture. Master Qing Yun immediately roared. What's the use? Chapter 35-21. Fight. Lin Ling's pitch-black palms shot out like the arms of a fiend god, exuding a domineering aura. His strength continued to climb, causing Grandmaster Qing Yun's countenance to turn increasingly heavy. To Master Qing Yun, that page of scripture was obviously of great importance. It was even more precious than his talent. This was because this scripture page was a divine scripture. Although it was damaged, after Master Qing Yun obtained it by chance, he used his blood essence and talent to refine it every day. Right now, it had already become the strongest method to surpass talent. However, Lin Ling seemed to want to snatch such a treasure. Most importantly, Master Qing Yun's current refinement was at fault. Otherwise, Lin Ling wouldn't have the chance to snatch it. Ka. Also, Grandmaster Qing Yun discovered that the strength Lin Ling exerted when he held the scripture continued to increase. Gradually, it reached the level of 4,000 worlds. In addition, there was a vast amount of world essence roaring. This caused Grandmaster Qing Yun to feel that he couldn't resist. Lin Ling, do you know what you're doing? You're too bold. Thinking of this, Master Qing Yun roared with unwillingness. Do you know why I don't treat you as a master? Because in my heart, you are nothing more than this. However, Lin Ling didn't even look at him. The dragon aura and ferocious aura on his body became denser and denser. The 3 great talents began to fuse together, and his strength rose steadily again. Puff! Master Qing Yun immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His expression changed greatly. Impossible, you actually have the power of 5,000 worlds. His heart was pounding. He couldn't believe that a mere junior like Lin Ling could be so powerful. The power of 5,000 worlds? Lin Ling's entire being was like a demon or a god. His long hair danced crazily in the wind, and his strength increased once again. His arms seemed to transcend the sun, moon, and stars, spring, summer, autumn, and winter. It was like the river of time as it grabbed onto the scripture and took root. At the same time, his power was raised to the limit, reaching the power of 6,000 worlds. He suddenly pulled the scripture. Rumble! Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. A strong wind blew in the hidden Fog Island sky. It was as though heaven and earth had turned upside down. What's going on? It can't be that Lin Ling can actually fight against Master Qing Yun. The onlookers in the distance were all shocked. To them, Lin Ling was a rising star while Master Qing Yun was a titan. The two of them were simply not people of the same world. But now, this rising star was actually fighting against Master Qing Yun. No, not fighting, but suppressing. Just what kind of limit had Lin Ling's strength reached? Puff! At the same time, Master Qing Yun spat out a mouthful of blood. He realized that the scriptures that he had painstakingly cultivated for so many years were losing their connection. Originally, I wanted to strip you naked and hang you on the streets to vent my anger. However, seeing that you have contributed this page of the sutra, I will forgive you. However, this page of the sutra belongs to me. Lin Ling sat cross-legged in the sky like a god as he muttered to himself. After he spoke, he forcefully pulled the ancient scripture out of Master Qing Yun's control. Puff! Master Qing Yun spat out another mouthful of blood. His expression instantly became dispirited. The page of the sutra appeared in Lin Ling's hand. After he examined it carefully, he could not help but smile. This page of the sutra belongs to you. Yes. After he checked, he realized that this sutra was very suitable for Shen Yuan Go-er. Therefore, he gave it to her. With this sutra, Shen Yuan Go-er's strength would undoubtedly increase by 50%. Lin Ling really snatched Master Qing Yun's page of the sutra. What a sin! What a sin! Aren't we here to visit Master Qing Yun? Why is Master Qing Yun being humiliated like a dog? Wind Snow Academy's Lin Ling has committed a grave mistake. When the surrounding people saw Lin Ling's tyrannical actions, they were all scared out of their wits. Visiting the predecessors of the Hidden Fog Island had been the rule of the 36 academies for many years. But now the rule had been broken. The son of the devil, Lin Ling, had actually robbed Master Qing Yun. Master Qing Yun, do you admit defeat? At that moment, Lin Ling stood up in the sky and looked down at Master Qing Yun. Master Qing Yun's heart was still pounding. He had not expected Lin Ling to be so powerful. When he heard Lin Ling's question, he felt as if a knife had pierced his heart. He felt humiliated. However, he could not do anything to Lin Ling. Do you admit defeat? Seeing that Master Qing Yun was silent, Lin Ling asked again. Bastard! Master Qing Yun cursed in his heart. He had snatched his sutra and now he was asking him if he admitted defeat. Admit defeat my A*S. Since you admit defeat, don't blame me. Lin Ling did not seem to know that Master Qing Yun was angry. Seeing that Master Qing Yun was silent, he spoke again. I admit defeat. Master Qing Yun knew that Lin Ling would not be merciful to him. Therefore, he roared and admitted defeat. That's more like it. Let me tell you, it's better to keep a low profile. Don't go around causing trouble when you're weak. I'll let today's matter go. If there's a next time, I'll strip you naked. Lin Ling nodded his head and waved at Shen Yuan Go-er. Let's go. Let's leave this place. After saying that, he led Shen Yuan Go-er and Yu away. Master Qing Yun was stunned in the sky. His face was green and red. He was so angry that he almost lost his mind. This was because not only did Lin Ling snatch his treasure, he even asked him if he admitted defeat. After Master Qing Yun admitted defeat, Lin Ling even used the tone of a senior to lecture him. This was humiliating him to the extreme. Son of the devil, Lin Ling. Master Qing Yun stared at Lin Ling as he left. In the end, he spat out another mouthful of blood and fell from the sky. This guy is so cruel. The people around were dumbfounded. Their eyes were filled with awe as they stared at Lin Ling. In the following days, Lin Ling did not wander around. He found a quiet place and started cultivating with Yu and the rest. As for the one-page sutra that Master Qing Yun gave him, Lin Ling read it for Shen Yuan Go-er. He realized that it was a language of the gods. It had great powers and was comparable to the 5th grade ultimate desolate body. Moreover, the limit of the one-page sutra was not as simple as a 5th grade ultimate desolate body. Lin Ling did not expect that he would obtain such a treasure while walking around the Hidden Fog Island. Go-er, this one-page sutra is similar to my space-time divine steel. It can unleash its power in an instant to suppress the enemy. Moreover, the power of this one-page sutra is slightly stronger than my space-time divine steel. After familiarizing himself with the one-page sutra, Lin Ling guided Shen Yuan Go-er to familiarize herself with the one-page sutra. Shen Yuan Go-er naturally treasured the one-page sutra. With Lin Ling's help,
she familiarized herself with the one-page sutra and mastered it. In this way she was the same as Yu Yu, possessing powerful means. However, Yu Yu's was a talent, while hers was a one-page scripture. It wasn't a talent, but more like a divine tool. Chapter 35-22. The Four Talisman God Paladin, Duan Wujan. On this day, everyone began to leave the hidden fog island, including Lin Ling and the others. However, as soon as they left the hidden fog island, everyone outside the hidden fog island looked at Lin Ling, who was walking out. Their eyes were filled with rage. Teacher, is this a student from the Snow Wind Academy? He violated the rules and humiliated the older generation. He is too lawless. Don't you think that the Snow Wind Academy should give us an explanation? The messengers from the other 5 academies joined forces to teach Lin Ling a lesson. If you are unhappy about this, you can look for our dean. It is useless for you to talk about Lin Ling's crimes in front of us. Moreover, we have no right to convict him. However, the teachers from the Snow Wind Academy were obviously on Lin Ling's side. They acted as if it had nothing to do with them. This time, the teachers from the 5 academies were furious. The same went for the students. They thought that by pressuring the academy would definitely punish Lin Ling. However, it seemed that it was useless. Lin Ling, let me tell you, you can't leave here today. The teachers could not do anything to Lin Ling, but many of the students were indignant. Among them, Duan Tianzhan was the leader. Duan Tianzhan was the disciple of the Duan family. Ordinary people had to respect him. However, he had been humiliated and stripped naked by Lin Ling on the hidden fog island. How could he take this lying down? However, in the face of Duan Tianzhan's anger, Lin Ling was still indifferent. Duan Tianzhan, I stripped you naked, but you don't seem to be happy about it. You should know that not everyone has the opportunity to be stripped naked by me. Moreover, I feel that you seem to enjoy being stripped naked. Perhaps some people have a habit of being naked. Although Lin Ling was indifferent, he saw that Duan Tianzhan was being overbearing. Hence, Lin Ling still said it nonchalantly. This sentence undoubtedly made Duan Tianzhan tremble in anger. He did not have a habit of being naked. All right, stop pretending. Let me tell you, if I, Lin Ling, am not as good as you on the hidden fog island, what would happen to me? At this time, Lin Ling spoke again. If you are not as powerful as me, I will make you kneel for 3 days and 3 nights. I will use all the humiliation in my life on you. Upon hearing Lin Ling's words, Duan Tianzhan immediately roared in anger. That's right. So, stop pretending to be innocent. Since you want to humiliate me, why should I give you face on the hidden fog island? To put it bluntly, it's not strength that decides everything. I can only say that you, Duan Tianzhan, are a piece of trash. Your skills were inferior, so you were humiliated. You'd better swallow this humiliation obediently. Duan Tianzhan gritted his teeth. Although he knew that, how could he not do anything when Lin Ling stripped him naked and hung him on the street? What a sharp tongue. If that's the case, if I humiliate you and you are not as powerful as me, you will have to accept the humiliation. However, at this moment, an angry roar was heard. Then, the crowd parted. A handsome man riding a dazzling warhorse slowly walked out. This person's strength was obviously extraordinary. The moment he appeared, even the teachers from the various academies could feel the intense pressure. 4 Talisman God's Holy Knight. Many teachers said solemnly. Although they were teachers of the academies, most of them were God's messengers. The God's Holy Knight was an expert who was above them. They were also known as God's Knights. Could that be Duan Tianzhan's half-brother, Duan Wujan? The students from the various academies started to guess. Their eyes were filled with respect. Brother! After seeing the young man, Duan Tianzhan could not help but laugh. The young man nodded. His eyes were still fixed on Lin Ling. Of course, he had heard of Lin Ling. He was an arrogant junior in Zhou. He had countless enemies and had even killed Duan Yi from the Duan family. He could not understand how such an ant could survive until now. You are Duan Wujan. At this moment, Lin Ling was also looking at Duan Wujan. His heart couldn't help but become serious. Duan Wujan's strength was indeed extraordinary. He was at the intermediate martial ancestor realm, but his talent had already surpassed the rank 5 realm. It could be said that Lin Ling was no match for such a strong opponent.
That's right. After seeing me, you must be very surprised.
Duan Wuzhan said lightly when he saw Lin Ling looking at him. His expression was filled with pride. Seeing this, Lin Ling was stunned. Then, he could not help but laugh. You are really arrogant. Although you are a little strong, compared to Duan Wuhan from the Duan family, you are still a little weaker. You must be Duan Wuhan's little brother. You are courting death. Duan Wuzhan obviously did not expect Lin Ling to dare say that to him. He thought that Lin Ling would only admire and respect him. After all, he was a 4-talisman holy knight. How could a mere Lin Ling look up to him? Am I wrong? However, among the Duan family's holy knights, I have heard of Duan Wuhan. As for you, I am sorry. I have not heard of you. Even Ningbo Tao from the New Heavenly Court seems to be more famous than you. Seeing that Duan Wuzhan was obviously angry, Lin Ling said lightly again. I have long heard that the son of the devil has a glib tongue. Today, I have seen that your reputation is not undeserved. However, what is the use of saying so much? Today, in front of absolute strength, if I want you to die, you will die. Suddenly, Duan Wuzhan laughed loudly. There was a tinge of arrogance in his words. A 3-meter-long purple dragon broadsword appeared in his hand. He pointed it at the teachers of the various academies. Do you think that they can protect you?
Believe it or not, I can kill you in front of them and they will not dare to have any objections.
Domineering. This was the domineering aura of a holy knight. With powerful strength, he dared to look down on the academies. The teachers of the various academies were all silent. Only the teachers of the Wind Snow Academy had ugly expressions. These people from the Duan family were too arrogant. They actually dared to touch Lin Ling in front of the Wind Snow Academy. Do you believe it or not? Seeing that no one dared to speak, Duan Wuzhan said again. Do you believe it or not, son of the devil Lin Ling? When Duan Tianzhan saw that his big brother was in high spirits, he also clamored.
He stared at Lin Ling, his eyes full of the light of, you are dead.
He obviously knew that he was no match for Lin Ling, so he had informed his big brother earlier. Now, he just wanted to see how Lin Ling would die. Sir, no matter what conflicts there are between the students, it is a matter between the various academies. As an outsider, you are interfering in these matters. This is somewhat against the rules. Moreover, this will also implicate the academy that Duan Tianzhan is in. Others will mock them for being incompetent and having to rely on outsiders for help. Chapter 35-23. Using his head to block the blade. None of your business. I like it. What can you do to me? Humph. But who knew that Duan Wuzhan's blade would shoot out a purple flame that turned into a wall of flames in front of the teacher? The teacher's face turned pale and he didn't dare to say anything. None of your business. I can't beat him, so I called my brother. If you don't agree, you can call your brother. If not, then shut up. Humph. Duan Tianzhan wasn't ashamed. Instead, he was proud and arrogant. The teachers of Snow Wind Academy didn't dare to say anything. For a moment, everyone looked at Lin Ling, especially those who had a grudge against Lin Ling. They were the happiest and couldn't wait to see Lin Ling make a fool of himself. Good. Humph. In the Hidden Fog Island, Master Qing Yun couldn't help but laugh. You asked me before that if you killed me in front of them, they wouldn't dare to have any objections. Now I'll tell you that you're dreaming. Humph. But at this moment, Lin Ling finally spoke. As soon as he spoke, the surroundings fell silent. Not only the students, but all the teachers were stunned. Lin Ling meant that Duan Wuzhan couldn't touch Lin Ling? What a joke! Duan Wuzhan was a 4-talisman god paladin and was stronger than the teachers. How could Lin Ling fight against him? Even if he cut Lin Ling into 17 or 18 pieces, Lin Ling wouldn't be able to resist at all. You said I can't touch you? Duan Wuzhan was stunned. Then he laughed loudly. Clang! He raised his saber and pointed it at Lin Ling from afar. I can kill you with a single slash, and you say I can't touch you? I'm sure you can't touch me. However, Lin Ling smiled and shrugged. Looking at him, he was completely fearless. At this moment, even the teachers of Snow City frowned. Based on the current situation, if Duan Wuzhan really wanted to kill Lin Ling, He wouldn't hesitate at all. No one could stop him. So, what kind of trick was Lin Ling playing? Deliberately mystifying things. Brother, kill him. Duan Tianzhan frowned and immediately shouted angrily. He didn't believe that a mere Lin Ling could stop his brother. Duan Wuzhan nodded, his eyes cold. Of him. Duan Wuzhan roared. His whole body was covered with purple light, and a terrifying aura burst out. Not only was this person talented, but his ancestral power was also extremely powerful. He was worthy of being one of the twin prides who shared the same reputation as Duan Wu Hen. He held the purple broadsword as if he was holding a dragon. With a speed beyond everyone's imagination, he pounced on Lin Ling. Dead, dead. At this moment, many people began to shake their heads. That frightening broadsword slashed down from the sky and smoothly landed on Lin Ling's head. This time, everyone's hearts trembled. Lin Ling, was he dead? In fact, some of them had heard of Lin Ling's name and knew that Lin Ling was a thorn in the side of many big forces. However, there was a mysterious force around Lin Ling that seemed to be quietly protecting him. Otherwise, based on the people Lin Ling had offended, he would have been dead long ago. But now, this mysterious force didn't seem to appear. Clang! The purple broadsword landed on Lin Ling's head with a deafening sound. However, many people saw that Lin Ling's head was extremely hard and had blocked the purple broadsword. No, 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 that's not right. That's not Lin Ling's head. But soon, someone realized that something was wrong. That was because a burly man had appeared in front of Lin Ling and was using his head to block the sharp saber. He must be crazy. Someone was using his head to block the saber. That was not an ordinary saber, but a full-strength saber of a middle-stage martial progenitor. Who would use their head to block the saber unless they were crazy? What a powerful saber. It seems like he's really trying to kill him. However, he's right. He won't die. No one can kill him. While the crowd was still in shock, the man who had blocked the saber for Lin Ling finally turned around slowly. That man was tall and burly. A terrifying aura rolled around his body like a tide in clouds. He touched his severed head and a bloodthirsty smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Plop! His appearance undoubtedly caused the hearts of the surrounding people to tremble incessantly. Duan Wuzhan's pupils trembled violently. What was going on? Someone had really saved Lin Ling. Lin Ling really couldn't be killed. Moreover, that man was crazy. He had actually used his head to block the saber for Lin Ling. You asked Lin Ling before if anyone could touch him. Now let me tell you. No, not a single person. That man's gaze turned and landed on Duan Wuzhan. His hoarse voice made Duan Wuzhan tremble subconsciously. That was because Duan Wuzhan sensed a terrifying power from that man. It was a power that could easily kill him. Lin Ling had such an expert by his side? Slap! Duan Wuzhan quietly took a step back, his face unusually pale. Even Duan Tianzhan took a step back. Unless they were idiots, they definitely knew that they were in trouble. Senior. As Duan Wuzhan retreated, he spoke anxiously. However, before he could finish his sentence, a figure appeared in front of him. At the same time, a hand reached out and grabbed Duan Wuzhan's neck in an instant. Beside Duan Wuzhan, Duan Tianzhan's legs went weak, and he almost wet himself. However, at that moment, another hand grabbed Duan Tianzhan's neck. Believe it or not, I only need to move my hand, and the two of you will be turned into ashes. That man had a hideous smile on his face as he held one person in each hand. As for Duan Wuzhan and his brother, they couldn't say a word. They could only continue to tremble. Not long ago, they had held Lin Ling's life in their hands. Duan Tianzhan even thought that not only could he wash away his shame, but he could also kill Lin Ling here. However, in the next moment, Lin Ling didn't die. Instead, they were threatened by an expert. City Lord Song, do me a favor and let them go. However, at that moment, an ancient voice suddenly sounded in the sky. So it's the Duan clan leader. However, why should I do you a favor? The mysterious man suddenly raised his head and smiled faintly as he looked into the distance. He seemed to have guessed who the owner of the voice was. The disciples of the Duan clan are ignorant. You are a magnanimous person. Please let them go this time. As for the inconvenience this time, the Duan clan will bear all the consequences. How about that? The ethereal voice sounded in the sky again. Hearing that, the mysterious man didn't say anything else. Instead, he looked at Lin Ling in the distance.
As for Lin Ling, he was deep in thought, causing the outside of the hidden fog island to suddenly fall into a dead silence.
Chapter 35-24.
The Dragon Ball was in their hands. Although they did not know what had happened, they guessed from the mysterious man's conversation that the master of the Duan clan was here. Most importantly, the master of the Duan clan was here, but he did not flare up. Instead, he gave the mysterious man face. For a moment, everyone was shocked. They did not expect Lin Ling to have such a big face. Even Master Qing Yun and the others in the hidden fog island were terrified. They realized that they had been implicated in a big conspiracy. The conspiracy was so big that it was not something they could meddle in. Pay 50 billion royal crystals and we'll drop the matter.
At this moment, Lin Ling finally spoke. Did you hear that? 50 billion royal crystals.
The mysterious man smiled and said to the sky.
Okay, 50 billion royal crystals. It won't be long before someone delivers it to Snow City. Now let them go. The voice in the sky agreed immediately.
I hope the master of the Duan clan won't go back on his words. The mysterious man opened his arms and let Duan Wujian and the others go. Duan Wujian and the others immediately started coughing violently. After a while, they raised their heads to look at the sky, their eyes filled with disbelief. They naturally knew who had come, but they hadn't expected that such a great figure would still compromise with Lin Ling.
This was too shocking. Go back. The man in the sky said coldly.
Duan Wujian and the others did not dare to say anything and quickly left. However, they were more and more shocked. They did not expect to go for wool and come home shorn.
Lin Ling, oh Lin Ling, he was not simple, just like the rumors said. Of course, not only Duan Wujian and his brother, but also the experts from the Duan clan were surprised. They did not expect that Xueqi would go to such lengths for Lin Ling. Although he had heard about it, after seeing it with his own eyes, he was sure that Lin Ling was not simple in the final world.
He's gone just like that.
Am I dreaming?
Not only did Duan Wujian not teach Lin Ling a lesson, but he was also extorted a large sum of money. This script is completely different from what I imagined. The students of the various academies still couldn't believe what was happening before their eyes. Only Lin Ling knew that all of this was possible. This was because he had predicted that there would be trouble if he left the hidden fog island. Therefore, he had already informed Governor Tsang and the others. The truth was just as he had guessed.
Go back.
Lin Ling thanked Xueqi and then took Yu and the others back to Snow-Blowing City. After a long time, Lin Ling and the others had just returned to Snow-Blowing City. At the gate of Snow-Blowing City, several figures had already been waiting there. Among them, a little girl blinked her big eyes and looked very expectant. When she saw Yu and the others, she immediately ran out excitedly.
Sister Yu, Sister Go-er, Xiaoyu has been waiting for you for a long time. The little girl who rushed out was Xiaoyu.
She knew that Lin Ling had gone to pick up Yu and the others, so she had been waiting here for a few days.
Xiaoyu. Yes.
Seeing the cute little girl, Yu and the others were very happy. They immediately rushed over and carried Xiaoyu. Yu Go-er is here.
Yes.
Do Kening and Kanjian also smiled. Lin Ling, since you came to the final world, you have been staying here. Yu and the others carried Xiaoyu and greeted Do Kening and the others. Then, they followed Lin Ling into Snow-Blowing City. Yu and the others were undoubtedly very curious about Snow-Blowing City. Lin Ling smiled and then roughly told them what had happened in the final world. Then, Lin Ling brought Yu and the others to the courtyard where they were staying. As soon as they entered, Yu and the others immediately felt that the courtyard was extraordinary. The two girls couldn't help but be shocked. Lin Ling explained to them that Yu and the others should stay in the courtyard for a period of time. It was absolutely helpful for the improvement of their talent. Yu and the others naturally agreed to this because they also wanted to stay by Lin Ling's side. A few days later, the Duan family also sent people to deliver royal crystals, not one less. This sum of royal crystals was enough for Lin Ling to reach the 9th level of the Sage Realm. However, he didn't use it for cultivation for the time being. Instead, he continued to wait for another day. A day later, the old woman finally returned. This time, the old woman returned with a dragon pearl. The dragon pearl was one of the rarest treasures in 9 regions.
It was not produced by the Dragon Clan, and even if it was the Dragon Clan, ordinary Dragon God level dragons would not be able to produce the Dragon Pearl. Only the king of Dragon God level dragons could produce it. For example, in the Rainbow World, the ghost dragon god that Lin Ling met was at the king of dragon gods and had the strength of a martial god. Only such a giant could produce a Dragon Pearl. And the Dragon Pearl could greatly improve the dragon god's bloodline, especially the pure Dragon Pearl. The effect of the Dragon Pearl was even more obvious. As expected of Lei Gong, he even has a Dragon Pearl. After receiving the Dragon Pearl from the old woman, Lin Ling was undoubtedly extremely excited, because this Dragon Pearl could greatly improve his dragon god's bloodline. This is Lei Gong's reward for you. Lei Gong once said that as long as you complete the mission, you can obtain any treasure. When the old woman saw that Lin Ling was very excited, she couldn't help but feel happy for Lin Ling. Moreover, Lei Gong's second divine trial mission has also appeared. It is to make you become the first in Snow Wind Academy's Divine 3 Hall. Following that, the old woman told him the mission that Lei Gong had given her. Divine 3 Halls first. Lin Ling immediately narrowed his eyes. He also knows a little about how powerful Snow Wind Academy's Divine 3 Hall is. If given another 8 or 10 years, Lin Ling is confident that he can become the first in Divine 3 Hall. But at present, he still lacks confidence. However, he now has the Dragon Pearl, which can greatly improve the dragon god's talent, so it is not impossible for him to become the first in Divine 3 Hall. After chatting with the old woman for a long time, Lin Ling also entered into a state of cultivation. At present, I have 5 Dantian, but there are only 3 kinds of truly powerful talents. For example, the help that the space-time divine steel brings is getting smaller and smaller, so if there is a chance, it would be good to find a more powerful talent. Dragon Pearl, Dragon Pearl. I wonder what level my dragon god's talent can reach with this Dragon Pearl. A bright ball appeared in Lin Ling's hand. From time to time, this ball exudes a rich dragon aura, and if one looked carefully, one can see that inside the transparent crystal ball, there is a dragon shape, rolling and roaring inside the ball. It's really amazing. I wonder if there are many of these Dragon Pearls in the Dragon Clan. If I have the opportunity to go to the Dragon Clan, that would be great. Staring at the ball, Lin Ling could not help but lick his lips. He wanted to refine the Dragon Pearl, but at this time, Xueqi's voice suddenly came, with a hint of anxiety. Lin Ling, the current Miao Emperor invites you to see him. Chapter 35-25. Miao Divine Palace. After hearing this news, Lin Ling couldn't help but be shocked because he didn't seem to have any connection with this Miao Emperor. City Lord Song, in your opinion, should I go visit this Miao Emperor? Lin Ling wasn't too familiar with Miao Emperor, so he asked for Xueqi's opinion. I'm guessing that Miao Di wants to see you because he wants to confirm something. That is, whether you are a challenger or not. So, to avoid unnecessary trouble, I think it's better to go see him. Maybe you can get some treasures. Xueqi pondered for a moment and finally agreed with Lin Ling's decision. The old woman was also the same. Since these 2 seniors agreed, Lin Ling had no reason to refuse. Thus, the matter of refining the Dragon Pearl could only be delayed for now. The next day, under the lead of the old woman, Lin Ling also walked in the direction of Miaozhou Imperial Palace. This trip invited all of Lin Ling's people, so Xiaoyu, Yu, and the others also went. Xueqi took out the Fire Phoenix Palace and carried Lin Ling's group forward. Along the way, he explained the power of Miao Emperor in the final world. In the final world, the number 1 clan was undoubtedly the Duan clan. The number 1 sect was the true inheritance of Miao Emperor, the only sect recognized by the final world. However, this sect was not a gathering place for martial artists, but for boundary masters. As for the number 1 dynasty, it was the Miao dynasty. This Miao Emperor's strength was just as Lin Ling had guessed. He was the number 1 god emperor in the 9 provinces. His strength shook the 9 provinces. He was also one of the 10 martial gods in the 9 provinces, known as martial god Qingning. What? This Miao Emperor is also one of the 10 martial gods in the 9 provinces. This news shocked Lin Ling. He was keenly aware that the martial god realm was a huge barrier. Many people would spend their entire lives stuck at the martial god realm, such as the 9th god Ai and the ghost dragon god he had encountered in the Rainbow World. The martial gods were also divided into strong and weak.
The strongest and most famous 10 were none other than the 10 great martial gods of the 9 provinces. And now, Miao Di was also one of the top 10 martial gods. It seems like the Miao Prefecture God Emperor is from a completely different world from the other 9 prefectures. Lin Ling couldn't help but sigh. Just the Flame Emperor of the Yen State alone could be dealt with by Lin Ling. However, against the Miao Emperor of the Miao State, even 100 Lin Lings wouldn't be a match for him. The gap between them was clear to see. The waters of the final world are very deep. Many people have powerful backgrounds, so in the final world, powerful martial artists don't dare to easily kill weak martial artists. This is because if you attack a weak martial artist today, an even more powerful martial artist will come to kill you tomorrow. So in the Miao Prefecture, strength is sometimes not the most important thing. Instead, one's background and relationships are sometimes the most important. Xueqi explained. What he meant was that this Miao Di probably had a powerful background. Lin Ling had heard Xueqi's words many times. Sometimes relationships were more important than strength. The waters of the final world are indeed very deep. Even the new Heavenly Court and the Flying Dragon Organization know that I am in the final world, but they still don't dare to touch me. This shows that they are afraid of me. Lin Ling secretly said. The Fire Phoenix Palace followed the sky and quickly flew towards the Miao Prefecture Divine Dynasty. In fact, the Miao Prefecture Divine Dynasty was one of the 36 main cities. However, it was the largest and most magnificent of all the main cities. Moreover, it also had an academy called the Miao Divine Academy, which was ranked at the top of the 36 academies. After a long time, when Lin Ling's group arrived at the Miao Prefecture Divine Dynasty, they were all attracted by the magnificence of the Divine Dynasty. Here, the tall buildings reached the sky. The style of the buildings was like that of a divine tower. The top of each tower was shining with a treasure light. The light was connected from end to end and covered the entire Miao Prefecture Divine Dynasty. This treasure light seemed to be a powerful defensive light shield, which could protect the entire Miao Prefecture Divine Dynasty from attack. When Lin Ling's group landed, they immediately saw a large number of guards in silver armor walking back and forth. These guards were not weak. When they wore silver armor, they looked like the holy knights of God.
Who are you?
When Lin Ling's group was about to enter the city, a guard shouted in a dignified manner. Xueqi, the governor of Snow City, was invited by Miao Di to visit the Divine Dynasty. Xueqi immediately said. Hearing this, the guards immediately looked up and down at Xueqi's group. Then, as if they had confirmed something, the leader finally waved his hand. Xueqi was one of the governors of the 36 main cities. Naturally, they did not dare to slight him. Xueqi led Lin Ling's group into the main cities. After entering, Lin Ling's group found that the Miao Prefecture Divine Dynasty was much bigger than Snow City. Moreover, there were many experts, including martial ancestor realm experts. Of course, Lin Ling also saw many existences with 5th grade ultimate wild bodies. Although martial ancestor realm experts were rare, they were not rare in the final world. However, martial ancestor realm experts with 5th grade ultimate wild bodies were extremely rare. It could be said that martial ancestor realm experts with 5th grade ultimate wild bodies were the only ones that Lin Ling needed to be wary of. For him, such experts were the real martial ancestor realm experts. As expected of the imperial city under Miao Di, there are indeed many experts. Lin Ling said as he led Yu and the others forward. Yes, if such people were placed in the 9 prefectures, they would be godlike existences. The final world is indeed the world of gods. There are so many experts. Yu and the others also exclaimed. They felt that their horizons had been broadened. This way. The old woman was apparently not surprised. She led Lin Ling and the others forward. Soon, they arrived at the gate of the imperial palace of the Miao Prefecture Divine Dynasty. Upon closer inspection, the imperial palace was also filled with countless divine beasts. The flowers and plants in the garden were all rare treasures of the 9 prefectures. The guards and maids in the imperial palace were all experts. Even the weakest one had a wild body. This imperial palace is one of the oldest imperial palaces in the 9 prefectures. In the past, this imperial palace was where the gods lived. The old woman also stared at the imperial palace and murmured, "No wonder this imperial palace always gives me a sacred and ancient feeling. I'm afraid this imperial palace is already alive."
Lin Ling sensed a powerful aura from this ancient imperial palace. "Come in." The old woman nodded. She took out her identity jade token and greeted the guards. Then, she led Lin Ling and the others into the imperial palace. The imperial palace was majestic and grand. There were people entering and leaving one after another. Today, Miao Di held a banquet and invited heroes from all over. That person over there must be the Supreme Battle Monarch. That's right. The Supreme Battle Monarch has lived in seclusion for 10,000 years. Those over there must be Marquis Pingbei's residents. Legend has it that this residence gave birth to 8 palace gods' sacred knights.
Look, that's the Grand Tutor's people. Along the way, voices of discussion could be heard.
Chapter 35-26. Impudent.
Hey, that guy over there, if I'm not wrong, he should be the son of Devil, Lin Ling.
The son of Devil, Lin Ling? The enemy of the new heavenly court? I heard that he offended the Duan family? That's right, it's him.
I didn't expect him to be qualified to come to the Miao Prefecture's divine palace.
Suddenly, an old man looked at Lin Ling with a meaningful look in his eyes. Lin Ling was surprised.
He didn't expect Lin Ling to be so famous that someone would recognize him in the Miao Emperor's territory of the final world. However, he didn't pay much attention to it and led Yu and the others into the palace.
Inside the palace, immortal energy was faintly discernible. It didn't look like a palace in the mortal world, but more like a divine palace. Not only was it vast and majestic, but there were also many cheilants, divine tigers, and other beasts lying on the ground. It was majestic. Huge pillars were placed on the ground, supporting the entire palace.
At this moment, a large number of people were standing in the palace, and their strength was monstrous.
Lin Ling saw the new heavenly court, the Flying Dragon Organization, and other major forces of the 9 prefectures.
However, in front of the experts of the final world, these major forces were much more low-key.
Duke Taiping has arrived.
Eastern Deity King has arrived. Not long after, loud voices rang out from time to time as more and more people walked into the palace.
Son of Devil, Lin Ling has arrived. When someone announced Lin Ling's name, the vast palace was momentarily silent. It was obvious that many people were hearing this name for the first time, and their expressions were somewhat puzzled. As for those who had heard of Lin Ling's name, their eyes flickered as if they were extremely surprised.
Lin Ling's expression was calm, neither arrogant nor humble.
Miao Emperor has arrived.
At this moment, a majestic voice suddenly spread throughout the entire palace.
Greetings, Miao Emperor. Everyone bowed slightly, and put their palms together. It was obvious that Miao Emperor's status was extremely high in the Miao Prefecture, and he could be called the #1 god. Except for those top experts, everyone who saw him was like seeing the Emperor.
This was something that was impossible to see in the other 9 prefectures. In other words, the god emperors of the Miao Prefecture were not on the same level as the god emperors of the other 9 prefectures.
Among the crowd, Lin Ling was also a little surprised. This was because he had not seen such a scene in many years.
If he remembered correctly, when he was in the Heaven Mystics Kingdom, when he met the second prince and the others, he also bowed like this.
Later on, Lin Ling's, strength continuously grew stronger.
The emperors he encountered, he did not place them in his eyes at all.
Therefore, Lin Ling did not bow this time. He only cupped his fists slightly. Seeing him like this, Yu, Dou Xianing, and the others also cupped their fists slightly without bowing. Although they were standing in a corner, Miao Di's power allowed him to see everything clearly. This must be the son of Devil, Lin Ling.
You're quite bold, daring to not salute me in the final world.
Miao Di's eyes flickered as he secretly said.
In the final world, apart from the gods, everything else was his people, unless there was a special existence. Today, he wanted to see Lin Ling, and a large part of the reason was to see if Lin Ling was such a special existence.
At this moment, many people noticed Lin Ling's actions and could not help but show a gloating smile. The son of Devil, Lin Ling, is quite bold. Even our Duan clan has to salute him here. He actually wants to let things go by just cupping his fists. He's really bold. Don't worry, someone will teach him a lesson. Many people started whispering to each other. How dare you, City Lord of Snow City, Song Chiri, not salute Miao Di when you see him today.
How dare you, Lin Ling, the son of devil, defy the laws of the gods? You met the God Emperor in the Miao Prefecture Divine Palace but did not salute him. How dare you? After a moment of silence, someone finally spoke. The Grand Tutor. He was a highly respected figure in the Miao Prefecture Divine Dynasty, who had met the God Emperor before. His identity and status were extremely high. He was an old man who looked to be in his 60s. He wore a gorgeous robe and his hair was neatly combed. He was full of majesty. At this moment, everyone looked at Lin Ling, and the gloating smile on their faces deepened. However, Lin Ling had already expected this scene. He knew that someone would take this opportunity to suppress him. He immediately took a step forward and said, "Old man, who are you? Why do you say that I defy the laws of the gods and defy the laws of the gods? In my opinion, you are the one who is defying the laws of the gods." As soon as he said this, the entire divine palace suddenly fell silent. No one expected Lin Ling to be so arrogant that he dared to speak in front of the God Emperor.
How impudent! Who gave him the courage?
In my opinion, this kind of person who despises the majesty of the God Emperor should be beheaded in public.
That's right. The Miao Prefecture Divine Dynasty is the ultimate world of the 9 prefectures. If etiquette is abolished, how will others view the Miao Prefecture? After a moment of silence, many people pointed at Lin Ling and reprimanded him. It seemed that they wanted to behead Lin Ling in public. Seeing this, Lin Ling's lips curled into a sneer. He didn't know many of them, but he could roughly guess the origins of a few of them. One of them was the Flying Dragon Organization, another was the New Heavenly Court, and the last was the Duan clan. These 3 enemies couldn't wait for Lin Ling to die, so how could they give up this opportunity? Lin Ling smiled faintly and said slowly, "Bullshit. You said that this young master is looking down on the God's order, but I think you are the ones who are looking down on the God's order and ignoring Lord Miao Di." Lord Miao Di hasn't even spoken yet. So what are you talking about? Do you think you are Miao Di? Nonsense. Hearing Lin Ling's words, those who accused Lin Ling immediately panicked. They were so angry that their teeth creaked. They had long heard of Lin Ling's sharp tongue. Today, they saw that it was indeed as sharp as the rumors said. Presumptuous. The Divine Emperor's Great Hall is majestic and sacred. It's fine if you don't salute and defy the Divine Emperor, but you even call yourself a young master. Do you still have any respect for the Divine Emperor? At this time, another person reprimanded Lin Ling. It seemed that he was a member of the Duan clan. Don't bullshit me. I will call myself whatever I want. If you don't agree, then get lost. Also, you said that I don't have any respect for the Divine Emperor. What a joke. The Divine Emperor is in your heart. What's the use of having him in your heart? Could it be that in your heart, the Divine Emperor is only barely worthy of your attention? Lin Ling sneered again and looked at the person who spoke. The entire Divine Palace immediately quieted down. No one thought that Lin Ling would be so arrogant. In front of the Divine Emperor, he called himself a young master. That was fine, but he was so reasonable. Did he think that the Divine Palace of Miao Zhou belonged to his family? Moreover, the seniors of the Duan clan and the Grand Tutor were all being scolded by him. This son of devil Lin Ling was too arrogant. Xueqi, don't you think you owe me an explanation? Right at this moment, Miao Di, who'd remained silent until now, finally spoke. Chapter 35-27. Trial Taker. However, everyone could see that Emperor Miao was angry. If Emperor Miao was angry, then Lin Ling was dead meat. For a moment, the Grand Tutor, the Duan family, and the others were silent. They sneered and wanted to see how Lin Ling would face the upcoming situation. Emperor Miao. At this moment, Xueqi looked at the Emperor God and was about to speak. "Lord Song, let me do it." However, Lin Ling spoke before him and stepped forward. He looked at Emperor Miao in the silver light and was secretly surprised. With his demon eyes of all things, he could not see through Emperor Miao's strength. This Emperor God of the final world was extraordinary. However, Lin Ling was not afraid of him. He put one hand behind his back and a jade token appeared in his right hand. Then, he reached out with his left hand and gently wrote a few words on the jade token. Then, he threw the jade token to Emperor Miao. Everyone looked at Lin Ling's actions and was confused for a moment. However, The experts of the Duan family sneered. Lin Ling had angered Emperor Miao. Did he think that he could fool him by writing a few words? In his dreams. In fact, even Emperor Miao thought so. He snorted and took Lin Ling's jade token and glanced at it casually. In the next moment, his dignified face quietly changed. Furthermore, he raised his head to look at Lin Ling, his brows tightly knitted together. As the #1 emperor god of the final world, he had been used to being unfazed even if the sky fell. Even the great divine demon war could not move him in the slightest. However, the 3 words on Lin Ling's jade token caused waves in his heart. The people around were also staring at Emperor Miao. After seeing Emperor Miao's expression, many immediately felt that something was wrong. What was written on the jade token? Why did Emperor Miao have such a reaction? You are a trial taker. Emperor Miao ignored everyone's doubts and looked at Lin Ling solemnly. It's written clearly on the jade token. Unless Emperor Miao can't read. Lin Ling replied calmly. How is that possible? Hearing this, Emperor Miao's expression changed again. He stared at Lin Ling as if he wanted to see through Lin Ling. Do you think I dare to use the name of a trial taker? Hearing this, Lin Ling said with a faint smile. Miao Di's heart finally let out a roar as he looked at Lin Ling with a hint of awe. Others might not know what a trial taker was, but as Miao Di, he naturally knew what a trial taker represented. It represented the trial takers of God. Takers of the trial takers. Takers of the god of gods Miao. Emperor Miao Miao, Miao Miao, Miao Miao, Miao. Emperor Miao's Miao God. God Miao. Emperor Miao's heart continued to rumble as he gripped the jade token. A moment later, he looked at Lin Ling and smiled. There were many misunderstandings before. I hope Your Excellency Lin Ling doesn't mind. Boom! As soon as these words fell, everyone in the palace felt as if they had been struck by lightning. Miao Di actually told Lin Ling not to care? Lin Ling was so lawless that it wouldn't be too much to kill him. However, not only did Emperor Miao not convict Lin Ling, he even apologized to Lin Ling. For a moment, everyone had their own thoughts. Some people began to speculate in their hearts. Some people were still confused. Some of them had heard of trial takers before, so they looked at Lin Ling with awe. Earlier, some people acted lawlessly and thought that they were Emperor Miao. Emperor Miao didn't even have to say anything, and he already wanted to convict me. Does this count as looking down on the laws of the gods? At this moment, Lin Ling suddenly opened his mouth and stared at the Grand Tutor. What nonsense are you talking about? The Grand Tutor's face turned angry. A mere Lin Ling dared to bite back at him. He was too bold. What I said is obvious to everyone. Could it be that some big shot thinks he's in a high position, so he's lying through his teeth and is determined not to plead guilty? Lin Ling said again. Your Majesty, don't listen to this child's nonsense. I have always been loyal to Your Majesty and have never had the thought of offending my superiors. The Grand Tutor ignored Lin Ling and looked at Emperor Miao instead. He didn't believe that Emperor Miao would help a mere Lin Ling. Because everyone knew that Lin Ling was putting a hat on him and saying some groundless accusations. Therefore, unless Emperor Miao was stupid, he would never believe Lin Ling's words. However, he looked at Emperor Miao expectantly. But Emperor Miao frowned and didn't speak. This time, the Grand Tutor finally realized that something was wrong. Everyone's eyes narrowed. From this point, it could be seen that Emperor Miao was going to help Lin Ling. The trial taker's power was truly extraordinary. It made Emperor Miao openly help an outsider. And if Emperor Miao were to help Lin Ling, then those who wanted to teach Lin Ling a lesson would all suffer at this moment. In fact, Emperor Miao was now riding a tiger and couldn't get off. He naturally didn't want to make things difficult for his own people. However, Lin Ling was a trial taker, and it was unknown which god's trial taker was. If it was a tyrannical god, then Emperor Miao wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Therefore, Emperor Miao was in a dilemma. He wanted to help but didn't dare to. Deceiving the masses with your lies. Lin Ling, do you dare to take the test of the golden light? If you can pass the test of the golden light, then it proves that you are sincere to Miao Emperor. We have slandered you before, but if you can't, then it means that you are deceiving the masses with your lies and attempting to pollute the sky of Miao Prefecture. At this moment, a stern voice suddenly rang out. Then a young man walked out. This young man was wearing black armor. He had a dragon on his left shoulder and a tiger on his right. He was tall and sturdy. He stood there quietly with an awe-inspiring divine aura. This person's name was Huang Fu Yile. He was the son of the Grand Tutor and an expert of Miao Prefecture's Shen San Hall. And for the sake of fairness, I will take the test of the golden light with you. Let's see who falls first. The one who falls first means that his heart isn't sincere enough. How about it? After Huang Fu Yile walked out, he immediately looked at Lin Ling indifferently and said, "Golden light with the golden light?" Everyone immediately began to discuss. The so-called golden light with the golden light was a divine light left behind by a war god in Miao Prefecture. This war god was once wronged by Emperor Miao. He was unwilling to be wronged, so he used his death to wash away his crime. After his death, he left the golden light with the golden light. It was said that as long as one could withstand the golden light, they would be sincere to Emperor Miao. The golden light became the symbol of sincerity in Miao Prefecture's divine dynasty. Golden light with the golden light. Song Qiri was stunned. Then he quickly reacted and shook his head, saying, "Lin Ling, you can't. If you refuse, it means that what you did before was slander. Slandering a meritorious official in Miao Prefecture's divine dynasty. You should be punished." However, Huang Fu Yile immediately shouted angrily. He wanted to use this opportunity to suppress Lin Ling. He wanted to send Lin Ling to the 18th level of hell. "You're really thick-skinned. I can see that you're also an advanced martial ancestor with a 5th-grade ultimate desolate body. If you compare the golden light with Lin Ling, you'll definitely last longer than him. At that time, you'll also say that you're more sincere than Lin Ling." Chapter 35-28. Luo Wan Golden Light. A glint flashed across Huang Fu Yile's eyes when he heard Huang Xiaolong's words. In fact, he was planning to use his strength to suppress Lin Ling and force Lin Ling to lose to him. However, since things had already progressed to this point, he didn't mind and smiled. There has to be a winner in everything. Unless you, Lin Ling, admit that you're slandering us, then we'll drop this matter. It was obvious that he was trying to force Lin Ling into a battle. Seeing this, the old woman wanted to refuse on behalf of Lin Ling, but Lin Ling suddenly laughed and said, "Luo Wan Golden Light, a divine light that tests one's sincerity. Interesting, I'll also bet with you, let's see who's lying." "You've got guts." Huang Fu Yile was stunned for a moment. Then he revealed an excited smile. Lin Ling actually dared to compete with him. He really didn't know how to write the word death. Even Miao Di was stunned. He didn't understand why Lin Ling would agree. The so-called Luo Wan Golden Light not only tested one's sincerity, but it also tested one's talent. If one's talent wasn't strong enough, they would be easily injured by the Luo Wan Golden Light. The reason why Huang Fu Yile dared to compete with Lin Ling wasn't because of his sincerity, but because Huang Fu Yidao was stronger than Lin Ling. Huang Fu Yile, Miao Xin Institute's God Ranking Lists expert, with the title of God's Emissary, ranked 362nd. The others also looked at Huang Fu Yile solemnly. God Ranking List. This was a ranking list that recorded all the experts in the 36 institute's God Ranking Halls. It was said that even the God Ranking Hall's #1 disciple might not be able to enter the God Ranking List. Only those who were ranked among the top and had the title of God's Emissary could enter the God Ranking List. And Huang Fu Yile was one of them. Open the divine light. Grand Elder Fu was afraid that Lin Ling would go back on his word. Thus he immediately shouted. Someone took out a huge jade bottle. This jade bottle was 2 meters tall, and it was sparkling and translucent. It looked extremely extraordinary, and there was an incantation on the jade bottle. Someone chanted the incantation, and the jade bottle suddenly floated up. A divine light shot out from the mouth of the jade bottle and enveloped Huang Fu Yile and Lin Ling. This was the Luo pattern golden light. It was a strand of divine light left behind by the death of a war god. Light. And Luo Feng's body's qi appeared. Lin Ling's eyes, his body's strength, soul and realm essence, his body, his physical strength, his soul, and his realm essence, they were all suppressed. The only thing that could withstand this divine light was talent. Of course when Miao Di, but Miao Di was Miao Di. However, Lin Ling believed that Huang Fu Yile wasn't the same as well. Huang Fu Yile was merely relying on Lin Ling's higher talent and cultivation base. Haha, Lin Ling, you've lost for sure.
Huang Fu Yile was enveloped by the divine light and also felt the enormous pressure. However, he believed that Lin Ling was under greater pressure than him. What he needed to do now was to see Lin Ling lose faster than him. He didn't know that Lin Ling dared to experience the divine light's tempering because he had the dragon pearl. Lin Ling planned to borrow the pressure of the Luo Wen golden light to refine the dragon pearl and greatly improve his dragon god bloodline. The Luo Wen golden light didn't care about realm essence. What it cared about was talent, so it was just right to stimulate the dragon pearl. As time passed, the pressure on the two became greater and greater. Puh! Suddenly, Lin Ling spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was illuminated by the golden light and showed signs of being corroded. This made Yu and company shout anxiously. However, the old woman stopped them. Lin Ling had already agreed to the match, so no one could disturb Lin Ling. She could only hope that Lin Ling could last longer under the Luo Wen golden light.
Haha, Lin Ling, where's your sincere heart?
Huang Fu Yile could not help but laugh out loud when he saw Lin Ling injured. He was extremely happy because Lin Ling had agreed to compete with him. He was simply courting death. As long as he defeated Lin Ling, he would receive his father's reward and become famous in the final world. This was killing two birds with one stone. It was too easy for Huang Fu Yile. However, as time passed, Huang Fu Yile began to feel the pressure. He only had a 5th grade ultimate desolate body, so he could not ignore the Luo Wen golden light. Fall, trash, trash, quickly fall for me. Of course, Huang Fu Yile believed that Lin Ling would fall faster than him. Puh! And in fact, Lin Ling had spat out another mouthful of blood. He looked extremely dispirited. At this moment, no one believed that Lin Ling could continue. Perhaps in the next moment, Lin Ling would be defeated. Only Lin Ling sensed that under the envelopment of the divine light, his dragon god bloodline was rapidly improving. The dragon pearl was also rapidly being refined. It was as if there was a dragon roaring in his body. The heavenly dragon's bone and the supreme nether wind dragon's talent were advancing towards 2nd grade at the same time. As for the space-time divine steel, it was kept by Lin Ling. This was because if he used it, the pressure Lin Ling would experience would be greatly reduced. However, this was not what Lin Ling wanted to see. This was because Lin Ling needed this pressure. Puh! After an unknown period of time, Lin Ling spat out another mouthful of blood. His body was corroded with thousands of holes. It was too horrible to look at. The surrounding people fell silent. In the beginning, they were all watching a good show. However, they gradually realized that Lin Ling had actually held on for so long. Was all this to prove his sincerity? Even if Lin Ling was a trash, he was still a trash worthy of respect. He was indomitable, and the more he fought, the fiercer he became. When they looked at Huang Fu Yile again, his entire body had begun to tremble. His pupils were constantly flickering, as if he could not believe that Lin Ling had not fallen yet. One had to know that his cultivation was higher than Lin Ling's, and his talent was stronger than Lin Ling's. He was also an expert on the divine list. How could he lose to a mere Lin Ling? Could it be that Lin Ling really had a heart of sincerity? No, this was impossible. For a time, Huang Fu Yile was slightly dazed. Most importantly, he noticed that it was becoming more and more difficult for him to resist the divine light. On the other hand, Lin Ling seemed to be becoming more and more spirited. Every time it seemed like he was about to fall, every time he was drenched in blood, he would become stronger the next time. His sincerity was stronger than gold. Fall. Why aren't you falling? Huang Fu Yile watched as Lin Ling fell yet didn't fall, and he started to panic in his heart. He'd never imagined that a junior at the Saint Realm would be so terrifying. When they looked at the surroundings again, many people were cheering for Lin Ling in secret. They were truly shocked by Lin Ling's perseverance. Unfortunately, none of them noticed that the pressure the golden light was exerting on Lin Ling was becoming smaller and smaller. Because Lin Ling's dragon god's natural talent was ceaselessly being stimulated, and it was becoming stronger and stronger. Puh! Right at this moment, Huang Fu Yile spat out a mouthful of blood, and his expression became dispirited. What? Huang Fu Yile seems to be unable to hold on any longer. How did the situation become like this? After all, it was Lin Ling who couldn't hold on in the beginning. My God! If this continues, then Huang Fu Yile will definitely lose.
Chapter 35-29. Defeat. Persevere. You have to persevere. At this moment, Huang Fu Yao's mind was buzzing. He constantly shouted at himself, but the divine light's power was constantly destroying him. He knew that he could not last much longer. However, he could not understand why Lin Ling was able to persevere longer than him. How could he have known that Lin Ling was suppressing the space-time divine steel? Otherwise, the pressure Lin Ling had to endure would be even smaller. If Huang Fu Yidao knew this, he would probably vomit blood and suffer defeat on the spot. Because if he tried to compete with Lin Ling in terms of natural talent, then he would simply be smashing his own foot with a rock. But now, he was not far from defeat. Pwah! After spitting out another mouthful of blood, Huang Fu Yidao could not withstand the divine light's corrosion. He rushed out from under the water bottle. The moment he rushed out, the entire palace was in an uproar. Huang Fu Yidao had lost. How is this possible? Grand Tutor Yi was the first to exclaim. His son was an expert that had entered the god role. He had a 5th grade ultimate desolate body. How could he lose to Lin Ling, who was at the Sage Realm, in a competition of the rivet pattern golden light? Taking a step back, even if Lin Ling had a 5th grade ultimate desolate body, he could not last longer than his son. Could it be that the son of demon Lin Ling has a sincere heart and is loyal to the Arch Miao? More people shook their heads. The rivet pattern golden light was a divine light left behind by the rivet pattern battle god. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was the rivet pattern battle god's life's work. To withstand the rivet pattern golden light, one had to have a sincere heart. 2. One had to have a powerful ultimate desolate body. However, even a 5th grade ultimate desolate body would not last long. Hence, for Lin Ling to win, his ultimate desolate body had to be above the 5th grade. Other than that, it also required Lin Ling's sincere heart. The entire palace fell silent. The Duan family, the new heavenly courts, the Arch Miao's true teachings, the various dukes and marquises were all looking at Lin Ling, the son of demon Lin Ling. This moment was clearly engraved in their minds. One had to know that in the final world, there were countless experts. There were very few people who could enter the hearts of the various experts. But now, the son of demon had succeeded. This meant that the son of demon, Lin Ling, had a growth potential that even they feared. Puff! At this moment, Huang Fu Yao was still coughing up blood. Because he was forcefully enduring the Luo Wen golden light, he'd already suffered heavy injuries. His gaze was also fixated on Lin Ling, only to see that Lin Ling was still enveloped by the divine light. Compared to Huang Fu Yao, not only was Lin Ling not injured, he was even holding on for a longer time. This scene undoubtedly caused Huang Fu Yao to spit out another mouthful of blood, and he shook his head without end as if he was utterly unable to accept reality. He did not know that under the overbearing shine of the Luo pattern golden light, Lin Ling's dragon god talents were all activated. Both of them reached the 2nd stage. The power of the dragon orb completely disappeared. That led to the world-swallowing beast talents being activated and the time and space tablet being activated. Therefore, Lin Ling was definitely holding on for a longer time than Huang Fu Yao. Lin Ling was even sensing the changes in his body. He realized that the dragon scales hidden in his body were beginning to peel off, and a new dragon scales were growing. However, this was clearly not a good place to change the scales. Therefore, Lin Ling suppressed the changes. Then, he slowly walked out of the Luo pattern golden light. The moment he walked out, a powerful aura filled the air, and his cultivation of the 8th stage of the Sage Realm became even more stable. Lin Ling is clearly in the Sage Realm, but why is his boundary essence so dense? It's comparable to the early stage of the Martial Ancestor Realm. How strange, how strange. Could his talent be able to increase the power of his boundary essence? Perhaps. He has a treasure on him that can store boundary essence. Sensing Lin Ling's aura, the various experts began to discuss spiritedly. Lin Ling placed his hands behind his back, and the aura on his body began to converge. He walked step by step toward Huang Fu Yao, and as he walked, the injuries on his body began to heal. The speed of his recovery was much faster than Huang Fu Yao's. Huang Fu Yao's body trembled, and his face was filled with dispiritedness. He gritted his teeth and finally said, "I lost." He could not understand why an expert on the divine ranking like him would lose to a junior in the Sage Realm. Until now, he still did not know how Lin Ling had won. However, Lin Ling did not say a word. Instead, He slowly lifted his foot and placed it on Huang Fu Yao's head. What are you trying to do? Don't go overboard. Huang Fu Yao was instantly enraged. He could guess what Lin Ling was trying to do. Lin Ling definitely wanted to trample on him. How dare he? Although Huang Fu Yao had lost, they had only competed with the Luo pattern golden light. Did Lin Ling think that he was stronger than him? The Grand Tutor was also furious.
However, since Emperor Miao did not say a word, he naturally did not dare to say a word.
Overboard? Lin Ling's foot was still lifted, and he looked down at Huang Fu Yao. You're just a late-stage martial ancestor, and I'm just a late-stage sage realm expert. Don't you think that you're overboard when you compete with me? Now that you've lost, you're no match for him, so stop talking nonsense. After he finished speaking, Lin Ling's foot landed on Huang Fu Yao's shoulder, and a powerful force pressed down on him. Puff! If it was before, Lin Ling would not have been able to hurt Huang Fu Yao. However, Huang Fu Yao had already been injured by the Luo pattern golden light, and since he was weaker, he did not dare to resist. Plop! He was instantly trampled to the ground by Lin Ling. His face smashed into the ground, and he felt a sharp pain. Of course, he felt even more humiliated. Huang Fu Yao, the son of the Grand Tutor and an expert on the divine ranking, had been trampled on in front of so many people. How could he face others in the future? Most importantly, the person who had trampled on him was only a sage realm expert. At this moment, the divine hall was completely silent. All the experts frowned. They did not expect Lin Ling to be so arrogant, to trample on Huang Fu Yao's face in front of so many people. Most importantly, Emperor Miao did not speak up for such an arrogant act. This meant that Emperor Miao had high hopes for Lin Ling's potential, so he was giving Lin Ling face. However, Lin Ling's potential was not simple. If he was already so powerful at the Sage Realm, how powerful would he be when he reached the Martial Ancestor Realm? They had a feeling that when Lin Ling reached the Martial Ancestor Realm, Lin Ling's name would definitely spread in the final world. Currently, Lin Ling was just starting to make a name for himself in the final world. Son of the devil, Lin Ling, you'll regret this. At this moment, Huang Fu Yao was still being trampled on by Lin Ling, but he still spoke with a venomous tone. This was because today was a humiliation that he would never be able to wash away. Is that so? Lin Ling immediately smiled faintly. This kind of threat is useless against me. Moreover, you can see that I'm more sincere than you under the Luo 1 golden light. Therefore you were slandering me before. Now, you'd better beg for mercy. I also like to hear an expert on the divine ranking like you begging for mercy. Otherwise, I don't mind trampling on you and embarrassing you. Huang Fu Yao was so angry that his nose became crooked. Not only did Lin Ling trample on him, he even wanted him to beg for mercy. Lin Ling. That Grand Tutor Yi was also very angry. Chapter 35-30. Long talk. Not going to beg for mercy? Sure, I'll keep stepping on your face. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't itch, and you're not tired. Lin Ling spoke again. Whether it was in the final world or in the 9 continents, Lin Ling's character was to treat others the way they treated him. The Grand Tutor and his son had no enmity with him, but they wanted to bully him. Lin Ling would definitely return the favor tenfold if he had the chance. You're going too far. Huang Fu Yao laughed in anger when he heard Lin Ling's words. It was true that being stepped on by Lin Ling didn't hurt or itch, and he wasn't tired, but was it a matter of tiredness? It was a matter of face. I've lost. Lord Lin Ling, please forgive me. Huang Fu Yao couldn't help but blurt out. What are you talking about? You're too soft, I can't hear you. Lin Ling continued to step on Huang Fu Yao's foot as he chuckled lightly. Huang Fu Yao's body trembled as he roared. I'm sorry, I've lost. I was wrong. I shouldn't have questioned your sincerity. Please forgive me. Huang Fu Yao's body deflated as soon as he finished speaking. His dignity, character, and shame shrouded Huang Fu Yao's heart, making him feel like he was about to collapse. Since that's the case, let's forget about this matter. However, you should be glad that you met me. I'm an easy person to talk to. If it was someone else, it might not be the same. Only then did Lin Ling slowly retract his foot. Easy to talk to? Everyone in the deity's Templar was dumbfounded.
Stepping on the Grand Tutor's son's face in front of him was considered easy to talk to? When Huangfu Yael heard Lin Ling's words, he felt a sweetness in his throat and almost fainted from anger. The Grand Tutor's body trembled as he gritted his teeth and didn't say a word. All right, it's time for this matter to end.
At this time, Miao Di spoke up to smooth things over for the Grand Tutor. Everyone immediately understood and changed the topic. After a long time, this grand gathering of the world's big shots finally came to an end. The various experts also left one after another. The Duan clan and the experts of the new heavenly court looked deeply at Lin Ling, feeling extremely uncomfortable. Today's events told them that Lin Ling had a strong backer in the final world. Even Miao Di had to give face to Lin Ling. In truth, the experts of the new heavenly court had already guessed it, but they didn't expect Lin Ling's backing to be so strong. After everyone left, Miao Di looked at Lin Ling with a smile and said, "Little friend Lin Ling, it's rare for you to come here, why don't you stay as a guest?"
Since Miao Di had spoken, this brat was naturally eager.
Lin Ling didn't reject Emperor Miao. It was better to know another expert than to offend one. That night, Miao Di called Lin Ling and the others to wake up. Moreover, at Miao Di's residence, Miao Di removed her mask.
Lin Ling and the others discovered that Miao Di was actually a woman. A beautiful woman.
This surprised Lin Ling and the others.
They never thought that martial god Qing Ning, one of the top 10 martial gods of the 9 continents, was actually a woman.
Miao Di wasn't surprised by Lin Ling and the others' surprise. She had people prepare delicious food to entertain Lin Ling and the others.
I wonder which god's trial taker is little friend Lin Ling?
After a round of wine and food, Miao Di asked with a smile.
Lin Ling immediately looked at the old woman and the others, then smiled and said, "Lei Gong."
It's actually him. Miao Di's expression clearly changed, with a hint of dread.
Although she was the #1 god emperor in the final world, there was still a god's world above the final world.
This god's world was very close to the final world.
It could be said that Miao Di was working under the eyes of a god. After knowing that Lin Ling was Lei Gong's trial taker, Miao Di's attitude towards Lin Ling became even more polite. As the god emperor of the final world, Miao Di should have seen other trial takers.
Lin Ling was curious about the other trial takers, so he asked in passing.
Miao Di immediately nodded. I was fortunate enough to see one a few years ago. However, trial takers of the divine trial takers are all people with extraordinary potential. They naturally have their reasons for being chosen by a god.
Sir Lin Ling, as one of the trial takers of the divine trial takers, your future potential is limitless. If your name shakes the 9 continents in the future, I hope you can give this old woman Miao Di some face.
Miao Di's words are too serious. Who can be sure about the future? At least in the final world, there are many people stronger than me, so I don't dare to think too far ahead. I just want to take one step at a time and slowly become stronger. Lin Ling immediately smiled politely.
It's best that little friend Lin Ling thinks this way because many geniuses became trial takers and lost in the first round because of their arrogance. They thought that as trial takers, they would definitely be outstanding in the future. This mentality caused them to fail the trial mission and eventually become unknown. Miao Di nodded in appreciation. Lin Ling smiled and didn't say much about the trial takers.
He suddenly thought of something and asked, Senior Miao Di, as one of the 9 continents' 10 great martial gods, you should have seen Luli Empress, right?
Luli Empress was also one of the 9 continents' 10 great martial gods and was Lin Ling's biggest enemy. So he was naturally curious about how far Tian Liuli had gone. However, when Tian Liuli was mentioned, Miao Di's expression changed. Luli Empress, a rare genius in the 9 continents, of course I have seen her. This Luli Empress is indeed powerful.
She has only grown for a short period of time, but her strength is one of the strongest among the 9 continents' 10 great martial gods.
Moreover, her cultivation realm is also the lowest, but her strength can only be described as terrifying. It's a pity that I have only seen her and have never seen her fight. Otherwise, I would have seen how powerful this Luli Empress is. Miao Di sighed. Lin Ling's eyes instantly flickered when he heard this. Tian Liuli had obtained Li Xiaoyao's true inheritance and knew the primal chaos divine technique as well. So, how could her combat strength be weak? Fortunately, Li Xiaoyao hadn't revealed the cultivation method for the next few levels of the primal chaos divine technique.
Otherwise, Tian Liuli would have opened up her 9 dantians, and he, Lin Ling, would have no hope of taking revenge.
By the way, she was also one of the trial takers. At this time, Miao Di said again. This news undoubtedly surprised Lin Ling. He never thought that Luli Empress was also one of the trial takers. However, I don't know if she has completed her trial mission. I only know that she has a high reputation among the trial takers.
Miao Di said again. It seems that among the 9 continents' 10 great martial gods, she is not the only one who is a trial taker. There should be others.
Lin Ling immediately nodded. Until now, he still didn't know what kind of reward would be obtained after completing all the trial missions. However, he was certain that each trial taker was not simple, especially those who could reach the end.
They could already meet the gods.
Well, Lin Ling, it's rare for you to be a guest. Let's not talk about this. Next, Miao Di and Lin Ling chatted with each other. That night, Lin Ling stayed in Miao Di's divine palace. The divine palace had many precious places that were very suitable for cultivation. Therefore, Lin Ling and Yu Yu separated and each chose a place to cultivate. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.